B&A Petroleum is available for all your bulk fuel and lubricant needs, with propane at selected locations Monday to Friday. And don't forget, their Cardlock location is accessible 24 hours for your convenience. B&A Petroleum. Fuel you once, fuel you forever.
No dugout in the pasture? You could move the cows or just put the water where the cows are. With a Keln Solar Livestock Watering System, you can put your pump pretty much anywhere without the cost of hooking up to the grid. If your cows are over here, put your Keln Solar Livestock Watering System over here. If they're over there, put it over there. If the cows are on the roof, you have weird cows. Learn more about the Keln Solar Livestock Watering System at kelnsolar.com. Keln Solar, we move water.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents the all-new Sportscage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Nelson Homes, supplying home packages and RTMs for over 65 years. Be a part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The all-new Sportscage. Streaming at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
How you doing out there? It is Friday, Sportscage. As you can see, if you're watching the stream, I'm off-site, as they say, off-site meetings. I'm at the Brandt Centre. Pats hockey tonight. We are here for the next 3 hours. Thanks for tuning in, whether it's on 620 CKRM or, like I said, watching the stream at sportscage.com. It is for Nelson Homes on Friday. Home packages and RTMs for over 65 years, thanks to Nelson Homes. 3 hours. DA back in the fold. He's going to be with me momentarily here. We got a lot to get to. If you haven't heard, if you haven't been on the socials, CFL's most outstanding defensive player, Roland Milligan Jr., has been extended through 2025. Big news out of Riderville. Al Millar of the Regina Pats, general manager, he's going to join us at the start of the show here. We're going to talk about the Pats. They're a young squad. Got some questions for Al. We'll see if see what he can answer, what he wants to answer. At 3:30, special one. Henry Burris, Smilin' Hank, is going to be on with us. Hour two. Braxton Whitehead of the Regina Pats. Interesting today here at the Brandt Centre for Whitehead, as one of his siblings was also skating with the Regina Pats today. We'll get into that. Former Regina Pat coach, all-around absolute beauty in the hockey world, Dave Struch, who coaches the Red Deer Rebels, who are here tonight. Struchy's going to join me in the back half of hour two. Hour three, we have Farhan Lalji, senior hockey report, and we'll revisit the Henry Burris interview. So that is the show. If you want to engage, if you want to chime in, be our guest on the new Prairie Land Rentals text line. They've been in business since 1986. You get to deal with the owner on Albert Street in Regina. Prairie Land Rentals text line 936-6262. So DA is just getting in here, and I want to get into this, and I'm sure everyone out in Riderville, I'm sure we're going to get some text messages about this, that Roland Milligan Jr. extended. I was looking at the stats from last year. Thanks for being back, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah. 100 and he was responsible for 111 defensive plays during the regular season. He ranked 5th in the CFL. He made a league-leading 8 interceptions. Just the guy was unreal.
Yeah, a truly special season all time for the Riders, I think. Like, when you start rolling out the impact he had on this team, and the impact, obviously got injured the year before and really, really showed it, for our squad. But awesome to have him for 2 more years. Like, he's part of the price of admission.
Jeremy O'Day, again, it's one of those things where everyone's like always complaining, hey, get off it. Like, doing something like this, locks him in. Obviously, his stats speak for themselves. Fan favorite, make Rider Nation happy. On to the next whatever, it's free agency. It's the window. What do you think about the whole like window, the tampering window? Like I said in the show on Wednesday, I love it because it sounds so badass. It's like, CFL's got the tampering window.
What I like is that they're recognizing that this stuff happens, and I guess they're like, you know what I mean? Like, let's not pretend that someone phoned someone at midnight the day free agency opened and got a contract done. Like, oh yeah, that probably happened. So no, I like it. It kind of builds the excitement too. Like, it gets people talking, us on the radio, people out in Riderland going, okay, what's going to happen here? What are the moving chess pieces going to be here in the CFL for both our squad and sort of the squads that we're going to be competing with on the field? So it gives the fans that talking window. Right. And your rumors start getting floated out there in socials, and guys start getting excited and disappointed and all of those things. So I love it.
It wouldn't be that great if we did, like, if it was back in the 90s, we didn't have social media. Right.
No,
it's just that adds fuel to the fire. News today, Justin Dunk had that the Tiger Cats, Riders, Elks, and Lions are pursuing Mike Rose out of Calgary. So he's kind of one of the sought after. Anybody on your wish list that you're hoping the Riders look at?
There's some receivers out there. Like I like our stable.
Eugene Lewis. You like that play?
Yeah, Lawler, Nickel, or who did BC release? So BC released.
Just like yesterday.
Talking to Hollins. Hollins, and so like I think, if we could add one more piece, now it puts a little bit more strain on the defenses to go, okay, we really got to pay attention to this guy. But now all of a sudden your Schaefer Bakers are wide open. You're right. You get everyone in the right spots. I think it could really catapult it. Obviously, O-line is always needed, and we had some injuries late in the year, and we had some leave to go to the CFL. So big on my list there too.
We're here for 3 hours. Let us know what you think on the Prairie Land Rentals text line 936-6262. Quick break here. When we come back, we're going to be joined by General Manager of the Regina Pats, Alan Millar. It is the Sportscage streaming live at the Brandt Centre and on the home of the Regina Pats, 620 CKRM.
Don't gamble with weed control. Roll the dice and you might get lucky. But when it comes to resistance, you need a sure bet. This spring, apply Avedex Microactive or Avedex Liquid EC herbicide. Reliable pre-emergent herbicides that give you consistent residual weed control of wild oat, including Group 1 and Group 2 resistant biotypes. Come out a winner. Purchase Avedex and be eligible for an instant rebate until April 30th. Avedex, the smart choice for herbicide-resistant wild oat management. Always read and follow label directions from Gowan, Canada.
Well, howdy, y'all. Wood Country Woody here. You ever been kissed by your mother-in-law? Brr, nothing chillier than that, except your house when the wind's out of the northwest. Fret not, my friend. It's John's Manville Insulation to the rescue from Wood Country. Insulation so good, even your mom-in-law will thaw a little. Get toasty. Save money. John's Manville Insulation from Wood Country.
Your home is your castle.
In McLean, Estevan, and Tisdale. Wood-country.com.
It's time to turn up the heat on trades at Crestview. For a limited time, get a $2,500 trade-in bonus on any trade-in. We're going to work to get you the same or similar payment to what you got right now. And we got something for everybody. Over 200 brand new vehicles, Jeeps, Rams, Caravans, and so much more. Plus, Capital's 100K giveaway is back in Crestview. Check out capital100k.ca for your chance to win. We're turning up the heat on trades at Crestview Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Proud member of the Capital Automotive Group.
Since 1949, Nelson Homes has been providing you one-stop shopping for ready-to-move homes, panelized packages, and on-site builds. Nelson Homes' team of authorized dealers all over Saskatchewan would be happy to help you turn your dream home into a reality. In the Radville-Weyburn area, call Darren and Claude at South Sask Builders or call 1-800-661-6534 for more information. Nelson Homes, trusted quality and service since 1949.
We want your business on board for the Harvard Media online auction. It's easy. All you've got to do is provide items like gift cards, experiences, services, or whatever cool product you have. And in exchange, we'll give you a world-class marketing campaign. No entry fee or cash outlay, just a good old trade deal. That hammer could be coming down for you. Just hit up harvardmedia.com and join in on all the excitement. Terms and conditions apply.
Olympic Buildings is looking for post-frame building crews to construct their post-frame buildings. This can be from any part of the province, and they'll pay better than industry average. To talk about getting your company to construct their buildings, visit olympic-buildings.ca.
The all-new Sports Cage. Watch our live stream at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Welcome back. It is for Nelson Holmes on Friday. We're live at the Brandt Centre, getting ready for the Pats and Red Deer Rebels tonight, 7 p.m. puck drop if you can't make it down. We're locked kind of in here. I'm not sure what the weather. It's blowing snow. Travel safe wherever you're going today, especially if you're coming down here. And Dante's got the pregame show at 6:30. Play-by-play at 7 o'clock on 620 CKRM. Alan Millar joining us from the Regina Pats. Thanks for making some time, Al, today to come by. First off, we were just talking, you guys are going back to Alberta and to Lethbridge and all that. You guys were just there. I'm kind of calling it the little triangle of death, not to, as a guy that's been around the league, we've kind of saw it here in Regina a few years ago. Your team goes into that. What are you looking for as a general manager for your young guys going in and playing just teams that are built for the Memorial Cup?
Well, it's not a lot different than 2018 with Regina, Swift Current, and Moose Jaw, the year the Pats were hosting, and what those three teams look like. You could have made the argument that they were the three best teams in the league. And so, obviously Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, Calgary are all in. It was a little bit, we were kind of like the Central Division, the gauntlet, the 3-game trip we just had. And we had to do it without Bridgman and Babcock on the back end. So we were rolling out 4 17-year-olds, and we got Hayden Wagner into Medicine Hat in time. Welcome to the league, kid.
Yeah.
We got him into Medicine Hat in time to play. I thought that we hung in real well in Calgary. It was a 3-1 game in the third. I thought we did a good job. The game in Medicine Hat got a little bit away from us with 8 penalties, and they took advantage. And I thought we were really good in Lethbridge. We deserved more, and I thought, the kids played well. They played hard. I think in those situations, what we've talked about in terms of those games is that, we know what we are. We know what we're doing, trying to do. It's about structure. It's about compete. It's about remaining as competitive as we can. And I think for the most part, we've been able to do that. Now we got another trip coming up. I think we start the trip, Edmonton and Red Deer, Edmonton in that order. I think that kind of gets us entrenched in the trip. We've had success against both teams, played well, and then back-to-back 4 and 5 with Lethbridge and Medicine Hat. And sometimes with a young team, you look at the rafters and you try and hang on.
So given that with the young team, how is it helping with the grind of a WHL schedule where they're, it's new to them and it's helping them keep engaged, or is it tough having them have this grueling schedule as we come to the end of the regular season here?
No, we made a decision that we are what we are. We had made the moves up to the point, and a lot of our final discussions that week of the deadline, and moving Chichkin out, moving Wilson out, moving Shantz out. We just looked at, in terms of where we were at, and I never want to say that players were getting in the way, but we needed to play our young guys. We needed the roster management part of the rebuild after the moves, to do what we needed to do. And part of those conversations were, it's hard. It's going to be hard. And there is going to be a Saturday night game in Red Deer and a 1 o'clock game in Calgary the next day. Well, our young guys need to go through that. Yeah. And, the wins and losses, I never want to say wins and losses aren't important, because we want to remain as competitive as we can. We know what we're building towards. I've told the team that, I'm evaluating how we win and lose as much as I am the actual wins and losses as we go along here. And, we just had to make sure that, again, I've always believed that a big part when you're in a rebuild and a tough one like we are, and the decisions that we've made, a lot of people just say they're making the moves, they're adding a bunch of young guys, they're adding a bunch of draft picks. But if you don't manage your roster to a point that you put those young players in those situations, and you put Peranich and Reese Hamilton in a situation where they're playing at the top or on the side on the power play as 17-year-olds, and you're not playing your young guys, and you don't have an opportunity for Kuzma and Klassen and Lancer to be in the lineup most nights, then you're contradicting what you're trying to do with the moves that you've made. And at the end of the day, some of the players that we didn't see in our plans, next year, we moved them. I couldn't have Dayton Deschamps not playing for Alexei Chichkin. I needed Dayton Deschamps to get those minutes.
Right.
Those were the things that we worked through the process. It's not easy. We understand that. We know that there's hard nights, but we believe. Hope's not a strategy. We believe we're going to be better for it.
That's a great quote. It's a T-shirt they should sell in the team store. No, and you talk about these young guys, and PA comes in here. They're fighting and clawing for position. They come in last week. You guys beat them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just, you guys are scrappy. You're like, it's exciting to watch. And knowing that these guys are so young, how challenging is it? Because you've seen this rodeo before. How challenging is it, and how important is it to have the right coaching staff when you're dealing with just like such young guys?
Well, it's real important. I always, in these situations, I always go back to the scene in Moneyball with Brad Pitt playing Billy Bean and Art Howe. And he says to him, I can do this all day long, when he makes the moves, because Art Howe's not playing the team the way he built it.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't have to do that with our guys here. Okay. And Brad Haroff led the charge there, because he's been here a long time. He was through the rigors with John through 17 and 18, the WHL final, the process along the way. Decisions were made not to trade certain players and Bedard, and knew that this was coming. So we were all on the same page. So that was important, because if I'm butting heads with them every day and they're fighting me, we're not moving Chichkin. We need to win games. Deschamps in the stands. We didn't go through that, Barney. We were on the same page, and we've been talking about this since the day I got here.
Mm-hmm.
So part of my evaluation process and part of what we needed to do to get this team to where we wanted it to be. So that was an important part. And then the understanding of how we manage our bench, the positions we put our young players in, trying to balance a winning environment as best we can, but understanding that development is the key, and those young guys got to play, and those young guys got to get better. And I think they've done a real good job. And I think all you have to look at is, and our record's taken a little bit of a hit here with those 3 games in the Central Division, but when we were going through starting to make the moves in November and December, and we had some of those older guys in the lineup, we lost 8 in a row, won a game, lost 7 in a row. Up till the Central Division trip, since that point, we were playing close to 500 hockey, and we were starting to come. And you talked about the PA game. We're down 2-0 early in the third. We hang in, we find a way. We kill off a big penalty in overtime, which is hard against the number one power play in the league, Mercic and Dragicevic and those guys throwing it around. And then we get in a shootout, and we haven't scored 3 shootout goals all year, never mind in one shootout. And I think that kind of showed a little bit of the youth, a little bit of the skill, Pentelakis, Mays, those types of things. And we were right in that game the other night, 3-2 in the third, and we had a 4-minute power play. We didn't find a way to score, and the game slipped away from us. So it's it's not easy. It's hard. I think that I think this is what we needed to do, and people can agree or disagree. People can disagree the moves we made and what we got in return, but I think in terms of tearing it down, playing the heck out of our young guys, developing, building that draft capital, starting to bring a young core. We like our 09 group a lot. We're going to go into the off season here with a lottery pick in the WHL prospects draft, a high pick in the U.S. prospects draft, high pick in the import draft. We've got a very good player in Vaclav Nestor still playing in Muskegon. That's going to be no worse than a second-round pick in the NHL draft. Work with his NHL team and his agencies to get him here next year. We need to capitalize on those opportunities, and we have the opportunity here to take significant steps and utilize that draft capital we built. Maybe not only the draft, like, are we going to take 5 players in the first 2 rounds of the upcoming draft? I don't know. I've told Dale Durkach, you might not have all 5 of them, and whether we take one of those second rounders and make a move to improve our team, or maybe we push a second round pick to a future draft to use it as a chip to improve our team. With the type of draft capital we have now, it gives us lots of flexibility and options to take those steps and build our team the right way.
That leads me into this question, and I have to ask it because I know everybody's asking me about it. How important is it for this franchise to try and get Maddox Schultz?
Well, I think that we know Maddox Schultz really well, okay, and Dale Durkach, Tristan Fry, Brad Haroff, the group here in Regina, summer hockey camps, Dave Schultz doing some power skating with our team and all those things over the years. The reality of the situation is Maddox is a special player, and he's a special young man in terms of how he's committed and how he invests in his own development. And now we need to see how the rest of the season plays out. Now we need to see how the lottery goes, and then we see where the chips fall, and then we see if we're picking second or third, what does that look like? Has Maddox Schultz, like Connor Bedard, and I don't want to start out those comparisons because nobody wants to go down. But the point I'm trying to make is sometimes players put themselves in a position to be the number one guy in a draft, and regardless of what you can offer, nobody's going to trade that pick. They just can't pass on that. Now, you could go back and say, well, Lethbridge traded the pick that Regina had to get Bedard, and Kamloops traded the pick that ended up being Landon DuPont to Everett, but we'll see how the chips fall.
And you have some capital, right? Like to try, and that's where I was, you mentioned a second, and Edmonton, what if we
we have some capital to be in the game if there's a game to be played. And so that's the part I want to caution on, is that there are situations when you have certain players at the top of the draft that it doesn't matter what you offer. So the best plan for us, or the best, and this is where you have to hope a little bit when there's a lottery involved, is we see how the chips fall, we see how many balls we have in the lottery, and hopefully we win the lottery. And then we go from there.
It's exciting. Sorry, up against the clock. I think we got about a minute left. Last thing I wanted to ask you about was it's really interesting. You mentioned that you could first pick in the U.S. draft next year.
Well, there's some discussion around the U.S. draft just because of the change in the NCAA rules, and the U.S. draft is now, that's a much more valuable pick than it may have been in the past. So we know by where we're going to place in the standings that we're going to have a good pick in that draft. Yeah. The league, our competitions committee, the general managers are working through some things, and there's meetings coming up in Vegas in a couple weeks that there may be some subtle changes to lotteries and how they do some things. But from my perspective, what I was saying was just that, there is going to be a U.S. draft. We're going to have a high pick in that draft. We got the WHL prospects draft. We're in the lottery. The import draft, we're going to be in the top 5 or 6 picks. Yeah. We hit on all those with everything we've done. Then significant steps over the next couple of years.
Well, try your luck in Vegas, and then maybe you'll see if you can. The luck's going to continue to the draft.
That's a low percentage as well.
So, okay, before I let you go, 39 years ago, Youngblood came out. Yeah, 1986.
1986.
People think I'm crazy. It's my favorite hockey movie, even though it's a little cheesy at times.
Over Slapshot?
I know, over Slapshot. When you think of Youngblood and going back in the day when it came out, what scene? Is there anything that you remember that you love about that show?
Well, the first one came to mind, I can't talk about.
Miss Miguel. Yeah, no.
T was.
That's everybody. Yeah.
Well,
we learned a lot as young kids when that show.
I you know what? I found it. You know, the coach in the room, you know, yelling at
Chadwick
threatening that they were going to Flin Flon, or
everyone wants a second house in Bora Bora.
Or you're gonna send you to junior sheets, the Schaumburg Cougars or something. I don't know what teams he mentioned.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of the Swayze and Rob Lowe and that.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie to watch, but I gotta have Slapshot number one.
Yeah.
I do.
Right on, Al. Thanks so much for coming by. What you're doing, like we see it on the text line all the time, and like you said, people don't get it. We see it in Saskatoon as well. Why are we trading? Good. This is the process. This is what has to happen. And you guys, you know, knowing now, I guess with a 2011 kid, and I'm watching the 2010s, and it's like they got a lot of capital here, a lot of things that can happen. So best of luck. Let's see what happens tonight against Struchy. Rolling into town. He's coming on here at about 4. So I appreciate you making time.
Yeah. And just, and thanks for that. And thanks to the fans. We understand it's not easy. The support's important. And hopefully they see what we're doing and see the young talent. And I'd say, trust the process.
Right on.
Great.
General Manager of our Regina Pats, Alan Millar, joining us. It is time for a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Henry Burris. It is the Sportscage streaming live from the Brandt Centre.
Busy Bee Doors is owned and operated by a trade expert with more than 4 decades of door repair experience. With Busy Bee, you receive the knowledge and experience that you and your garage deserve. And they can usually repair most door problems on their first visit. Their services include installation, maintenance, repairs, and the satisfaction of having your garage free of rats and anything else that can otherwise sneak in there. Call Busy Bee Doors. They can fix or replace any commercial or garage door. Busy Bee Doors, the garage door specialists.
Homes always seem to need something. And right now, during Home Hardware's Bring Home the Savings Sale, everyone's saving on just what they need. Some are saving 10% on select molding and interior doors for that spare bedroom they never got to. And some are saving 25% on select Beauty Tone signature paint. Hey guys, exciting, isn't it? Oh, they're watching the paint dry. It's a thing of beauty. Earn and redeem Scene Plus points during the Bring Home the Savings Sale, on now at Home Hardware and Building Centers.
So, since that little ding on my car last week, I don't know where to take it.
I don't even know.
That's easy. Take it to Regina Motor Products.
Who said that?
I did. Down here. I'm Terry the Tire. Regina Motor Products Chevrolet Collision Center and SGI accredited auto body repair is a full-service collision and body shop that works on all makes and models. Just submit your claim to SGI and set an appointment to get your appraisal done. Easy.
I bet you're tired after saying all that.
South at Highway 1 and 6, Albert Street. RMPChevrolet.com.
At the cabin or on the farm, Access Rural Internet gives you speed and service you can rely on. Right now, get Access Rural Internet for as low as $69.95 a month for 24 months, including free service calls by our local techs, a free Wi-Fi router, and a strong, reliable signal matched by our strong, reliable customer service. Great service is never far away with Access Rural Internet. Visit myaccess.ca to book your free site survey.
Nobody knows the equipment market like Ritchie Brothers. If you're selling heavy equipment and trucks, Ritchie Brothers will get you the most buyers, industry expertise, and the widest selection of custom selling solutions. Sell equipment your way, from your yard or a Ritchie Brothers facility. Ritchie Brothers will drive demand for your assets like no one else can. Contact your local territory manager today to get started. Visit rbauction.com to learn more about selling with Ritchie Brothers.
Welcome back to the all-new Sports Cage. Connect with the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262.
We're back at the Brandt Centre. It's Barney Shinkaruk, DA, CNC are back holding down the fort at 12th and Rose. It's not great out again. If you're traveling today, just take a good look outside. Snow starting to blow. We're getting more snow rolling in here. Check the highway hotline, whether you're coming to the Pats game here at the Brandt Centre, or if you're going to any of the other games in the area, Weyburn's and Estevan in the SJHL, Yorkton's hosting Notre Dame, Humboldt's in the Battlefords. What else? We got some senior stuff we'll get to later. Big Senior C provincial game tonight in Carnduff. Going to be rocking. So sometimes we're fortunate here on the cage having good people around us. One of those guys is Brent from Events Edge Entertainment, and he brings in speakers and he brings in guys to talk, and NHLers, CFLers, just all around. It's eventsedge.com. And then he reached out to me and said, hey, what about talking to Henry Burris? And I said, like, the Henry Burris? I'm like, yeah, well, it's a sports show in Saskatchewan. I'm sure that would be great. So thanks to Brent. We have him. Henry does keynote. We're gonna get to that in a bit. But Henry is on the stream. If you're watching him, I got the chance to see him in the green room. I gotta say, Henry, you've and don't take this the wrong way, but you've aged well. Like, you look like 30-year-old Henry Burris.
Hey guys, I'm about to turn 50 years old, but I still run bleachers. I still get out, and I want to be as active as the guys. I mean, I got to stick with it, man. Father Time's not on my side, so I got to do what I can to slow him down.
Yeah, undefeated, right? They say undefeated. Hey, big news in Riderville today. I guess for a lot of people, we love him. He's had such a great year last year. You said you keep up with the league. Roland Milligan Jr., they extend him to 2026. Any thoughts on that?
Well, that's a key signing because, that man can do it all. Whether it's on special teams, defense, he's a guy, a ball hawk, always around the ball. You can always see those guys that have that intuition as far as what's about to happen, and they always play 2 or 3 steps ahead of the competition. Well, that's one of those young men right there. He's an opportunistic guy, a guy who's caused a lot of turnovers, helped change the momentum of the game, and really keep Rider fans out of the seats. So really acquiring him, keeping him there in Riderville was a big acquisition for the team, and one that's going to help put them in position to get into the playoffs and contend to get back to the Grey Cup.
Yeah, it's it's the window right now, right? Free agency. It's that time of the year. Now, I got to ask you, I think it was 2005. You rejected that Rider offer. You went to Calgary. What can you tell? Was it money? Was it money then, or what was it, Hank?
Well, it was one of those offers where if you would have said no, you'd have been knocking at my door because you'd have been single. Same happened to me. If I would have said no, I would have been knocking at your door to sleep on your couch. The offer was so lopsided in one side. Trust me, when it's a few $100,000 difference, I would do what any man did. So, I got to, like they say, happy wife, happy life. And, you got to go where the money is because the game only lasts so long and you're putting your body on the line each and every day and play. You got to make the money when you get the opportunity too.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Hank, too, being obviously a big CFL fan, and back then, it just did you feel like it made, like, the whole storyline just made it so much more intriguing around the league? I know as a Rider fan, it sort of added that whole other element. We loved Winnipeg coming in here and having that, but now all of a sudden Calgary coming in here was just the same. And really, did you see that at the time? Obviously you saw it, but could you feel the importance it was sort of having as the league? Like, that was a high point in the league for TV, for selling seats, all that stuff. And I think that was a big part of it, was you creating that storyline.
Well, for me, I always say it, and my wife and I talk about this all the time, and Nicole and I will say that in our minds, we experienced the CFL at some of the best times the league ever had, because, just how electric those Saskatchewan Calgary games were. I still remember the first time I came back to Regina, the entire place was a buzz. It was a very emotional game. I was crying in pregame, crying during the game, post game. Even though we won, a lot of people we call family and friends were in the stands cheering against us, cheering with us. But even that move right there, I mean, you still feel the energy today. Not as much probably when Calgary and Saskatchewan plays, but, it changed the entire mindset and perspective of the league, because people knew when they tuned in and saw the horse on one side going against the Riders on the other side, they knew it was going to be an electric game that came down to the final few snaps to determine who would win. And for me, fortunately enough, I was able to experience that once again when I went to Ottawa and when Hamilton let me go, when I played for the Red Blacks. Those are some key games, to decide who would go to the Grey Cup between the Red Blacks and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And fortunately enough, we were able to beat Kent and the guys and go to back-to-back and finally get one in 16. But those are some key as far as battles that turn into rivalries that'll never be forgotten about. And trust me, guys, I'll still turn on YouTube and watch those games and be sitting there acting like, man, this game is actually happening live, getting goosebumps and so on and so forth. Unforgettable moments.
I want to get back to the Ottawa thing in a bit here, but I got to ask first off, okay, what was it like? Paint the picture. What was it like growing up in Spiro, Oklahoma? Was football everything, or did you kind of play a bunch of different sports?
Football was everything. You want to talk about the amount of pressure that the starting quarterback felt at Spiro. It's like if you lost certain games, you didn't even go home. I mean, you just might as well pack your bags, walk to the other sideline, and decide you're going to join that team. But, that prepared us for the moment. You know what I mean? Understanding the pressures that came with playing the position. But, again, the first question they always ask is, what position is your son going to play? They didn't care what the name was. They just wondered where was he going to play on the football team. And if you said the position of quarterback, it's like, whoa, like that's different. It's like you were the next coming. You could walk on water. And so, I mean, football, like if you watch Varsity Blues, that's what football in Spiro, Oklahoma was like.
Awesome. How did you, what do you remember about, first finding out about the CFL and then coming up?
Well, for me, guys like Warren Moon, Conridge Holloway, of course, J.C. Watts, who was a local Oklahoman, those guys helped open the light for me to what the CFL game was all about. I still remember back in the day, the sports channel used to be on down in the U.S. when you had old satellite TV. And I used to tune in to watch the Eskimos and to play against Conridge and the Toronto Argonauts. And, of course, with the as far as the, the league moving into the U.S., I love the game because they threw the ball a lot. You got to see so many different varieties of formations and motions. They would dress things up so much, but still just run similar concepts all the time, but, put some window dressing on it and put lipstick on a pig, but they'd still run the same thing. I love that about the game in the CFL. And that's exactly what you see in the NFL now, all these trickery motions that people are running and they're saying, oh, so-and-so is the czar of this. He created this. I'm like, you go to the CFL. That's where all this stuff came from. They just don't want to admit it down here.
That's awesome. Henry Burris is joining us here on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. He's joining us thanks to our friends at Events Edge Entertainment and Speakers Bureau. Okay, so you go Calgary, Saskatchewan, then the NFL, right? And I remember, you remember too, like how proud we were. It was like, although we're, it's Sasky, we were just like so proud that Henry's going down, and then it was Green Bay to Chicago, and we're starting to see, like a Joe signs with Indy last week, and we've had guys go down. For you, Henry, as a quarterback, though, like what was the biggest challenge in going down there? Was it them taking you serious? Was it the rules? Was it the field and the ball? What was it?
Well, when you go from being the guy to not being the guy, it's a totally different feeling. The culture feels different. The approach to use feels different, because as a quarterback, you want to feel that you have just that freedom to go out there and give it your all. Whether you make a mistake or not, you can give it your all. Well, for me, it was always a situation where I had to prove myself, where I had to go out there and I felt like I had to be perfect on every play to have that opportunity. Yes, I made every team. I was able to do enough just to crack the squad and be able to dress on game days and so on and so forth. But there was no feeling like the feeling at the CFL gave me when guys said to me that you're our guy, go lead us. That gives you just that feeling that you can go out there and let it fly and not have to worry about somebody looking over your shoulder, or if you make that mistake, you're riding the pine once again. And unfortunately, I just didn't get that. I know a guy like Nate Rourke, he could probably say the same thing from his feeling. Yeah. They just didn't make you feel that way. I mean, guys, quarterbacks were finicky. I mean, we need a little love, we need a little, back pat, a little hug every now and then just to show us that we're your guy. And unfortunately for us, we just didn't get that in the NFL. Look at Peyton Manning. He set the all-time record for rookies with interceptions with 27, 28. But again, he was still able to become the guy because they gave them the opportunity. Just unfortunate that opportunity wasn't extended for Henry Burris. But look at how it turned out for me remaining in Canada and living out my all-time dreams.
Right. And how was it? So obviously tough going to be from the starter to sort of trying to crack the squad. What was it like in terms of workload though and preparation? Like so many more coaches, so much more, focus and time on the field, I would assume. What was that transition like?
Well, sometimes they can overdo it when it comes to the amount of information that you're receiving, but it makes things easier because when it comes to the resources that you have at your disposal, I mean, you got the best of the best. Whether you're using from some people DV Sport, if people understand the, kind of the databases and servers they use to help break down all the information. Of course, now the analytics, whether it's XOs versus DV Sport, you're having information handed to you at this level from every different direction, every person that you come in contact with. You have scouts that go a couple of weeks before each game you have to get signals, get self-scouting reports on individual players and personnel from the opposition. I mean, sometimes it can be overbearing because technically we can see that by watching film. How good, who's the weak link, who's the strong link from a defensive side perspective, that being a quarterback, what's the tendencies from a defensive coordinator, what are some things that we need to prepare for and got to have it second and long, third down situations if you're a coordinator talking CFL or NFL. But, I mean, to me, like you say, it's the Taj Mahal of it all, and you have to accept it, learn how to navigate it and work through it, understand what you need and what you don't need, and find and try to use it to your advantage to help make your career and your journey that much easier and successful.
I forgot about, like, after Chicago, they sent you to NFL Europe. I think it was like with Berlin, something like that. And then that kind of just wasn't the right fit. You're like, no, I'm going back to the CFL. I love it. At that point, Henry, did you know that was the end of the NFL dream?
Yeah, I think just my experience when I was over in as far as in Berlin and just how things were, I told myself at a point, you know what, I'm tired of all this dipsy doo-dahing around trying to find this. For me, I just wanted to play the game, and I loved every moment I was in Canada. From Calgary to Regina, I missed those moments. And I know when I was in Europe, trust me, being able to play football in Europe and play on Fox, that was awesome. What I mean? Brian Baldinger, hey, game day, let's get ready to go. But for me, I just wanted to get back to playing ball, you know what I mean? And being able to come back to Canada where I loved it so much and having the opportunity to go back to Saskatchewan and be a part of Riderville and do what we could to get us back to a Grey Cup. Get back, join forces with Danny Barrett and Roy Shivers, who gave me my first opportunity to start, and with Ryder Faithful. I look forward to getting back. And then, of course, my wife-to-be, I got engaged to Nicole while I was, overcoming my rehab for my cartilage tear. But things happen for a reason. I thought once I got hurt, the writing was on the wall. It was time to get back to doing what you love, and that's playing the game in a great country like Canada and in one of the greatest leagues in the world, in my mind, the best being the CFL.
DA kind of talked about this. So you when you go back to Calgary and then you come into Sasky and you're kind of public enemy number one, which is awesome. And a lot of guys love that. And they you said how emotional it was the first time you came back, but it seemed like I remember watching you play when you came back, like you just fed off that. And it was like, yeah, keep it coming. Right. That's probably the case.
Oh, 100%. And honestly, that's still the fuel that ignites my fire today, even being a coach, here in college ranks now, because, each and every time a NFL team signs a guy or a Power 4 college program signs a guy and I feel I could be the guy, it's just another log on the fire for me. You know what I mean? To continue to press on forward, to being the best that you can be, keeping the faith that's been restored in you and given to you by the sacrifice that was made. For me, that's what pushed me. And it was bigger than just people, because I wanted to show younger kids that, regardless of who's against you and who says you can't do it, the naysayers, that anything is possible as long as you continue to have the faith and believe and that you're there for a reason. But trust me, it was like boulders of logs on the fire when the Rider fans were getting after me, because again, I knew if we didn't beat the Riders 20, 30 years down the road, I wasn't going to hear the end of it. And so, trust me, it was kind of a bittersweet thing when the Riders won in 07 with Kerry. And of course they beat us en route to winning the Grey Cup in Toronto. But the thing was, I loved it because it was Saskatchewan. The fans needed it. The fans deserved it. And, one of my good friends still to this day, Kerry Joseph, was a quarterback I knew it would be a great notch under his belt to be able to achieve that. And he's still one of my guys I keep in touch with day in and day out today.
Henry Burris is joining us here. Thanks to Brent from Events Edge Entertainment and Speakers Bureau.
So, yeah, Henry, coming back in 05, like for me as a fan of the CFL, I felt that really kicked off sort of this next generation of quarterbacks. We'd gone through a great, I'll call it the Flutie years with McManus, etc. And now, we kind of had, you came here and for the Riders coming here in 2000, kind of changed the culture. Now you come back in 05, there's you, Calvillo, Durant gets here, Joseph is here, right? Like that stretch and that, your next 10 years. You had battles all the time, and it was must see TV. Like you just had quarterbacks going up against one another. Obviously, the rivalries became more important. All of these games seemed to just be elevated that next 10 years.
Hey, you hit the nail on the head because every team you played had a dude. And in some cases, you look at Edmonton with both Jason Moss and Ricky Ray, even if their starter went down, they had a guy off the bench that could beat you. And in that case with the Edmonton Eskimos, Jason Moss led them to the Grey Cup and won it in Vancouver back in 2005. So, the thing was, the league was so talented under center at that time. I mean, you had Casey Printers, who was a backup, an MVP in the league, the MOP to Dave Dickinson in DC. So again, sometimes it didn't even matter if the starter was playing or not, but from coast to coast, you had great quarterbacks that were the cornerstones and the faces and the spokespersons for each and every team in the league. And to me, that's when the league was at an all-time high. And now you're starting to get that, the resurrection of some great quarterbacks now that are coming, through the ranks and from different angles, because a lot of times you had mainly Americans back then. And there was definitely a campaign to get more Canadians on board. And now you're starting to see the Curtis Rourkes, who just finished off an excellent season here in the NC2As. You're starting to see quarterbacks get opportunities in the Senior Bowl from the CIS or U Sports. I can't remember what it's called now these days. It changes so much, but
it does.
You're starting to see Canadians take over the game, and for me, that's going to make the game that much better, even better than what it used to be. And so, the quarterbacks are the driving force of that league, and it's great to see that the league is still strong. You got Vernon Adams now in Calgary. That's going to add another notch on their belt and give them a gunslinger, a guy who can make plays with his feet and with his arms. And I see the league starting to resurrect and get itself back to that level because of the movement of the players throughout the given leagues. And now you see that in each and every market.
What do you remember about a young Trevor Harris?
You know what? Trevor was, coming in, he was a great student of the game. I mean, starting out in Toronto, of course, with Scott Milanovic and working with Zach Caleros and working with Ricky Ray. And, you could tell that he definitely had his ears open and his eyes open as well. I mean, he was a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed kid. And when he got his opportunities to step in and play, I remember when I was in Ottawa, we're thinking, okay, we're playing against one of the backups from Toronto. We're going to go out there and give it to this kid. Let's go out there and put some points on the board, and we're going to win this game. But all of a sudden, we'd score, they'd score. They'd stop us, they'd score again. I'm like, who in the heck is this kid, Trevor Harris? But, I mean, Trevor, super precision, very professional at what he does, very detailed, super accurate. And, again, he had great pocket movement, and that enabled him, even though he doesn't have that, 4.5, 4.6 speed, just his ability to move from point to point and be able to deliver the ball with pinpoint accuracy showed you that this kid had a great opportunity in the future ahead of him when a team gave him an opportunity. Unfortunately for me, even after going to the Grey Cup in 2015, I got a call saying, Hank, we're bringing in your replacement. It's Trevor Harris. I'm like, oh, great. Here I go with this again. But, if there was any guy who, I thought was, definitely worthy of that, and that's something that I shared with him, even though we still had a competitive edge between us because, again, I didn't want to go out with some punk rookie coming in here trying to take my job. Heck no, that wasn't going to happen. But I still had to show him who was the, numero uno. But again, I knew when that kid got his opportunity, it was going to be hard to supplant him. I'm just thankful that he gave me an opportunity to finish out 2016 and get that final Grey Cup in my final game. And then at that point, he was able to take over and do the great things that he continues to do with the Riders today.
Yeah, that's 16, right? There were some injuries there. There was a lot of criticism around you. You kind of shut some people up. Of all the Grey Cups, this one might be tough to answer. Is that the most special one? Because it seems so vindicating for you.
Oh, 100%. Because for me, it's like everything that that I experienced throughout my journey. People saying you can, good Hank, bad Hank, all this crap. You know what I mean? For me, it came down to that game. Guys, I was getting old. That's what my body was telling me in that final year. My knee, tearing cartilage in pregame. I broke a finger early in the season, couldn't hold the ball midway through the season, lost my spot. It was like everything. It was like a soap opera was going on. But when it mattered the most, the opportunity came for me. And like I say, things happen for a reason, guys. And I could have bitched and moaned and whined, but when the opportunity came back, I continued to support the team. I worked my butt off every day in practice. And when my opportunity came back to take things back over again, it worked out perfectly. And to me, it was a book the way it ended.
Yeah, and what a game too.
Oh man.
Like, what a game. Talk about the game. Like, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, and really to do it against Calgary and John Huffnagel and the crew out there, I mean they were untouchable and nobody gave us a chance. But back in our corner, we're sitting there like, hey, we're a team that went to back-to-back Grey Cups. We were born for this. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. We only got a couple minutes left here, but I want to talk about what you're doing now. Like you said, we can get to the speaking thing in a bit, but you're coaching. I think it's QB coach, assistant coordinator, Florida A&M, and one of your two boys is playing with you.
Yeah. Well, I just recently got I got promoted to offensive coordinator. Nice. And quarterback coach. I finished off the last 2 games of the season. I was able to take over and good things happened. And but now, coaching my oldest, Armand. He made the transition from hockey to football, played a couple of years of football, and it was crazy. He's getting recruited by Florida A&M. He wanted to go to an HBCU, and of course, here we are in Tallahassee, Florida. And then their head coach left and took a job at Duke, and so they called me and said, "Hank, would you want to coach at FAMU?" And I'm like, "Armand." He looked at me like, "Dad, let's do this." And so all those years that I lost with my boys when they were growing up as kids, me playing football all over from all over in Canada from coast to coast, I have an opportunity to get those years back and make that impression on him and be right here with him to be a part of his growth. And so dream come true, man, being able to do this.
That's cool. Take us quickly through the hockey thing. That's from Canada and then took it down there?
Yeah, so they played hockey, and then once we made the move to Chicago, once I started coaching with the Chicago Bears, they got down here and went to a football game, and they saw all the people in the stands. They were like, hold up, hockey, forget that crap. We want to play this. And so they started playing high school ball in Chicago. And, my son, he still takes a hockey mentality. He's out there giving her. He's putting people on the boards, but, on the field, and he's loving it. He's loving having a great time down here, and it's a blessing to be able to see him grow right before my eyes.
All right. So if anybody wants to bring you in, Hank, to come and do your talk, your keynote speech, it's called Smile. Just maybe quickly tell people how they can, what they get when you're speaking.
Well, it's all about supporting and motivating people, empowering each other, because, again, one thing we need in this world is love and the empathy as far as what it takes to get there, because I assure people that none of us achieve success on our own. And I'm here to encourage people that regardless of through the pitfalls and everything, I'm only here because of adversity and having the right resources in my corner. And I mean, there's enough out there for everybody. I want to see everybody achieve their dreams, achieve those goals. And I always challenge people, if there's one thing you can do each and every day is go out of your way to say thank you to somebody, because, I've lost great friends here lately. Sean Simpson in Ottawa, Burke Dales in Calgary. I still remember 2 days before I talked to Bert, and then next, I got a call that, he was no longer with us. And really one thing that this world really needs is people to support each other. We need to love each other, continue to come together, regardless of differences. We need to come together because we are all human beings produced in one way. And I want to continue to spread that gospel, because impact is what this world's all about. And that's what I'm here for, because for me, at the end of the day, it was about impacting people from coast to coast in Canada. And for me, that's the number one mark that I felt I was able to help, as far as have a part in. And I want to continue to be a part of that, whether it comes to, older professionals like ourselves or the youth who desperately need it during this time of age.
Well, you look good. We look old, Hank. You can bring them in.
Oh, come on now.
Eventsedge.com. Like I said, Events Edge Entertainment and Speakers Bureau. Thanks to Brent for hooking us up. And you can bring Henry in, and he can do a talk, and I'm sure he'll talk football till you're blue in the face. Ken, a last question. We got 20 seconds before we got to wrap. I asked Darian Durant this. We have him on Mondays. I'm going to ask you, what realistically, what could you still give? Could you go a quarter? Could you go a half in the CFL if they really needed?
If I got hit, I might turn to dust. So no, I'm done. I'm good.
Right on, Henry. Thanks so much. People in Sasky, right? They still love you, even though you left. You came back. You left. All that. But it was a pleasure. And hopefully you get to come up and speak, like you said, and spread that gospel. I'm sure it would be amazing.
Hey, I'm looking forward to it, guys. Thank you guys so much for having me on. And I miss you guys back in Saskatchewan. We still call that home.
Right on.
Awesome.
Riders,
Thank you very much.
CFL legend.
Smiling Hank.
Smiling Hank, Henry Burris. What a pleasure to talk to him. And he looks good.
Yeah, he's the same age as me. Makes me feel bad, man. I got to get on the treadmill.
I got to start doing yoga. The boys are laughing in the studio. Again, his keynote is called Smile. You can bring him in, Events Edge Entertainment and Speakers Bureau, eventsedge.com. Thanks to Brent for hooking that up. That's an hour in the books. When we come back in hour 2, we're going to be joined by Dave Struch, head coach of the Red Deer Rebels, and also Braxton Whitehead from the Regina Pats. It is the Sports Cage. We're streaming live at the Brandt Centre and on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM.
Young's Equipment Incorporated, your Case IH headquarters in Davidson, Raymore, and Chamberlain, is expanding, and we are looking for qualified service technicians. We are a locally owned family company in our 36th year of business. Build a career in agriculture with excellent wages, benefits, pension, and advantages that only a family-owned company can offer. Help feed the world and be well compensated and appreciated for it. Join the team at Young's Equipment in Davidson, Raymore, and Chamberlain, your Case IH headquarters. Check us out at youngs.ca today.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling wants you to ignore their water heaters. Don't think about it. Don't worry about it. Because when you rent your water heater from Bronco, they take care of all the maintenance. Their professional staff will come to your home, handle the service at no additional charge, and then you're free to think about anything you want while you take a nice, long, hot shower. Water heater and water softener rentals from Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Call 781-2090 or visit broncoplumbing.com. They'll treat you right.
We're turning up the heat on trades at Capital GMC. Get into a new vehicle and keep your payment low with the $2,500 trade-in bonus. We're talking payments as low as $299 bi-weekly plus tax for a brand new Sierra. Or get into a GM-certified pre-owned vehicle complete with manufacturer's warranty, roadside assistance, and more. Plus, Capital's 100K giveaway is back. Check out capital100k.ca for your chance to win. Turning up the heat on trades at Capital GMC. Proud member of the Capital Automotive Group.
Your Saskatchewan Co-op Ag teams are your trusted partners to support your entire farm operation. And we're giving back to our community. Since 2017, Co-op has invested $468 million in Saskatchewan through building, upgrading, and expanding local facilities. And we've returned $418 million to Co-op members. Co-op, we're building something for the future. Here for your farm, here for your family. Learn more at coop.crs/farm.
Nobody knows the equipment market like Ritchie Brothers. If you're selling heavy equipment and trucks, Ritchie Brothers will get you the most buyers, industry expertise, and the widest selection of custom selling solutions. Sell equipment your way, from your yard or a Ritchie Brothers facility. Ritchie Brothers will drive demand for your assets like no one else can. Contact your local territory manager today to get started. Visit rbauction.com to learn more about selling with Ritchie Brothers.
We are the voice of Saskatchewan. 620 CKRM Regina, a Harvard media station.
It's 4:03. Good afternoon. There's some light snow and some blowing snow in Regina, and it's -14. I'm Corey Atkinson from the Harvard Media News Center with 620 CKRM News. Well, it's Friday, so there must be some bad travel conditions in southern Saskatchewan. The Trans-Canada Highway from Mortlach to Regina has travel not recommended from the Department of Highways, as are stretches of the number 6 and 33 highways and many of the highways in and around Moose Jaw. Check the highway hotline before making any travel decisions tonight. The U.S. tariffs on Canadian and Mexican goods that are expected to take effect tomorrow could cause the price of gas, groceries, and cars to go up.
President Trump's promised 25% tariff on imports from Mexico and Canada could drive up prices on everything from gasoline to guacamole. Canada supplies most of the crude oil used in U.S. refineries, and experts say gas prices could jump by 50 cents or more per gallon. Meanwhile, Mexico is the top supplier of fresh produce like avocados and tomatoes and limes, so expect grocery bills to climb. And if you're shopping for a car, prices may rise too, since nearly half of all imports come from those two countries. Dave Packer, ABC News.
The federal deficit was nearly $23 billion between April and November. The Finance Department says that compares with the roughly $19 billion deficit over the same period last year. Revenues were up about 10% to $29.5 billion. Public debt charges were up by more than $5 billion. The RCMP says the request for fill-in Mounties in Manitoba is working. The police force recently asked members across the country to help address a shortage of staff in Manitoba and Saskatchewan. Assistant Commissioner Rhonda Blackmore says allowing cadets to choose their initial placements did not benefit Saskatchewan and Manitoba. The RCMP has begun prioritizing new applicants from Manitoba and is also looking at reviving recruitment advertising campaigns. Police boats continue to search the Potomac River as part of the recovery and investigation into the deadly collision between the commercial airliner and an Army helicopter near Washington, D.C. Reporter Sam Sweeney has the latest.
It's a very small plane. It's a regional jet. It's a confined space despite it breaking apart, and that's what's likely proving to be difficult as these people are strapped in their seats. They're asking nearby residents who find anything on the shorelines to immediately call 911, but they won't be able to get those other bodies out until they lift that wreckage.
41 bodies had been pulled from the river as of this afternoon, including 28 that were positively identified. Officials say all 67 bodies will be eventually recovered. And rather than hitting the SCO, Costco workers in the United States are preparing to hit the picket line.
Thousands of Costco workers are preparing to strike as the company and the Teamsters Union approached a deadline to reach a new contract agreement. The Teamsters Union represents 18,000 Costco workers in 6 states: California, Washington, Maryland, Virginia, New Jersey, and New York. It's unclear if the strikes would close stores. Costco said its labor agreement with the Teamsters applies to less than 10% of its U.S. stores and employees. Union members say the company needs to make a contract offer that reflects its growth in sales and profits. I'm Haya Panjwani.
That's your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Your weather is next.
Since 1949, Nelson Homes has been providing you one-stop shopping for ready-to-move homes, panelized packages, and on-site builds. Nelson Homes' team of authorized dealers all over Saskatchewan would be happy to help you turn your dream home into a reality. In the Strasbourg, Last Mountain Lake area, call Dean at Solid Works Carpentry or call 1-800-661-6534 for more information. Nelson Homes, trusted quality and service since 1949.
It's Grow Time! Canada's Farm Show Regina, Saskatchewan, presented by Viterra, the premier event for farmers, agribusiness professionals, exhibitors, and sponsors, happening March 18th to 20th, 2025. Featuring a vast trade show with hundreds of companies with special offers, clinics, and learning sessions, along with live entertainment in Young's Equipment Farmhouse Lounge. This is your must-attend spring event. That's March 18th to 20th at Real District. Get your tickets at Canada's Farm Show Regina, SK.com.
And now your 620 CKRM precision weather forecast for Linex Regina. Serious protection, killer looks, 1865 McCarra Street. We still have that blowing snow advisory. We have about 4 to 7 centimeters of snow possible and a gusty southeast wind up to 60, but the temperature will be steady near minus 12. Tomorrow, windy with flurries and light snow and a high of minus 5. And on Sunday, partly sunny, windy, and turning colder. The temperature falling to minus 23. At this hour in Moose Jaw, there's some light snow and blowing snow. Winds are from the southeast at 43, gusting to 53, and it's minus 12. Regina has some light snow and blowing snow as well. Winds are from the southeast at 47, and it's minus 14. For more local news that matters to you, subscribe to the daily newsletter at sasktoday.ca.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Line-X. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Line-X protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Line-X. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Line-X Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Line-X. Make your truck complete. 1865 McCarra Street.
Experience the next level of cleanliness with B&Boa's cleaning services. Whether it's your office, retail space, or home, they use advanced cleaning technology and eco-friendly products to deliver unmatched results. They even do commercial high-rise ventilation pipes dusting. They offer a special rate for seniors, 15% off for first-time customers. Visit their new location, 855 Arcola Avenue, online at bboascleaning.com or call 306-522-5262.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents the all-new Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Nelson Homes, supplying home packages and RTMs for over 65 years. Be a part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The all-new Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Hour 2 here live under the orange top, the Brandt Centre. We're getting ready for the Regina Pats and Red Deer Rebels tonight, 7 p.m. puck drop. A number of games in the Western Hockey League. We got Brandon and Moose Jaw, Wenatchee's in Saskatoon to take on the Blades. Calgary and Oil Kings out in Alberta. That'll be an interesting one. Swifty continues their trip in BC as they take on Kamloops. And all you Swifty fans out there, Southwest Saskatchewan, shout out Wongs and Swift, where I'll be eating tomorrow, guaranteed. Travis Moan's boy, Carter Moan, right?
Is he getting a game tonight?
Tonight.
Oh, is he? Good for
First
him.
WHL game. That is Dave Struch joining us here live, head coach of the Red Deer Rebels, former head coach of the Regina Pats, former head coach of the Saskatoon Blades, and absolute legend with the Saskatoon Blades. When I have Cam Moon on, it's so much fun because we go down like a Dave Struch, Scott Sissons for at least 5 minutes. We talk about your Trans Am and all that stuff. But Camaro. How's it going in Red Deer, Dave? I know last year when you took over, we were all over because you kind of made that push. You had this team, buzzing and all that. This year, injuries has just been the thing.
Well, first of all, you made me sound a little bit like Mike Sillinger there.
I'm not paying you to do this because it's silly.
That's all right. Silly can take a little bit of ribbon. Make sure you send him that clip. You know what? It was a great start for us. You never want to use his injuries as an excuse. There's no question about it. You still have to play and compete every night. But the reality is we lost a lot of our top forwards and our top 4D over the course of, the end of November right into December, and it's been a struggle ever since. It gave the younger guys an opportunity to play. We didn't quite get the most out of them. So the inconsistency there has been it's been a major factor in the day-to-day development process of the program in Red Deer. But we are seeing some more development in the young guys along the way here. It just comes with experience, no question about it.
How hard is it, seeing that? And we had Al Millar on in hour 1, and I'm calling it the triangle of death there. You got Calgary, Medicine Hat, Lethbridge. It's like the 2018 when you were here. What's that like right now in the Central?
Well, just seeing it again, but not being a part of it. You see so much that happened back then with Swift and Moose Jaw making big moves. They got better. The year before, we played Swift and it was a great series. They were good at the time. But right now, Edmonton didn't make any big moves. They made a lot of moves last year, but their program is in a position where they're very elite as far as their players. But those 3 teams with Lethbridge, Calgary, and Medicine Hat making the moves that they made to get to bring already elite players the opportunity to play with more elite players in the programs where they're at. As much as we'd love to be a part of it, every team would, because when you play at that level consistently every night, it helps your program. Yeah. It'll be an interesting finish for those teams for sure.
So, and obviously, like you said, young team. How do you approach those games when you're going in against these juggernauts? Do you have sort of micro goals, or how do you get the kids ready?
It's shift by shift. We knew, again, back to, there's no excuse with injuries, but we expect our players to play and compete at a certain level every single shift. When you're up against those older players, top-end players, simplify your game, make sure you're skating, make sure you're being physical, make sure that you're focusing on taking away time and space. You have the puck less, so we spend a lot of time in preparation as to how to play the right way away from the puck. And then obviously when you get the puck, you really have to bear down, make hard plays to have any type of success offensively. But you know what, even with our guys out, there has been some strides taken. The wins and losses have been the wins have been very hard to come by. But we hope with the return of some players, we're going to get a couple back tonight, which is really nice, that we haven't seen for a couple of months. And we hope to see some strides and hopefully a push here at the end. Obviously, we need lots of help with Swift and Brandon, but hopefully we put a string of games together.
We went through your resume before you started, and you kind of joked about that, but you've seen a lot of Western Hockey League hockey. You've coached, you've played, all that. Do you go back and kind of, I guess, grab experiences from the past? And are you learning a lot still as a coach through this?
I learned so much right now, and I learned one of the biggest things. I went through the rebuild in Saskatoon. Yeah. I went through a rebuild here in Regina. Everett was successful as an associate coach there. We with the injuries that came to us, we weren't forced to where we're at right now, but we were put in a different situation. We weren't getting better with all the injuries, and those teams were, they were making big moves and stuff that we didn't want to pay for, right? Mm-hmm. And we weren't in a position to pay for it. But the stuff I've learned, within the group of players that we have, the group of young guys that have stepped up to become leaders within the organization for the future, really, really important. No question about it. I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned is how important the old guys are to a team when you miss them. And having not gone through this before with so many old guys out, you really miss them. In the dressing room, as much as we say things as a coach, you need those old guys to lead the way on the ice with their actions to help those younger guys develop.
So what's it been like? I know you're referring to them as old guys. They're still young men. Like with that rash of injuries off the ice. So we've talked about the challenges it presents game to game on the ice, but I imagine, having to deal with now this subunit of your team, and like you said, like how are you helping them get through it, and is it creating a lot of work off the ice too when you're dealing with that?
Well, this generation of player too, right? I mean, they communicate with this so much that our focus on getting them to number one, earn a voice with their actions in practice, the work ethic, the compete level, the development of a competitive edge, the experience they gain in games against other teams as younger players, against other teams' top players consistently, puts them in a position when they do have some success to have a voice.
Yeah.
Now they have to use it. That's become for me, for us as a coaching staff, that has become, I think, the hardest part there. Now, some teams have got natural voices, guys that want to step up and want to speak. We don't have that, so getting those players to really express themselves anyway, emotionally, frustration, just by coming in and snapping, and without us as coaches having to do it. Those are things that we're really working on these young guys with.
Head coach of the Red Deer Rebels, Dave Struch, joining us here. Comments on I guess the guy that's got the whole city here in a buzz, Maddox Schultz. Because the dad talked about you when we interviewed him, and
it's remarkable. It's funny. I catch myself pulling up Live Barn every once in a while just to see a couple shifts, just because of. I forget who I was talking. Might have been Todd Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was talking with Johnny last night because we got in and I got to watch my young boy Jesse play, and he was flipping over to the Pat C's game, and we were just
because Eli's having a heck of a year.
Oh yeah. So so when you're in a position at 6-7 years old where you want to, best way to put it is you really want to crush guys, and you want to fight for a puck, and compete and battle and shoot the puck as hard as Maddox did. That's 8 years ago. And when we've been here as a family for 10 years, when we first saw him do that, or when I first saw him do that, you could see his skating was there because of Dave.
And Vicky.
Yeah, and Vicky. I mean, come on. Just the compete and the will and the want that this young man has to get better every moment of every day has put him in the situation he's in right now. So when you see him, the words that I'm using right now, you'll realize why he is what he is.
Because when we interviewed him and Dave, it was awesome. And the one thing that Dave talked about was it was you. You were one of the guys that called him and said, "We got to get you got to get him out of this league. Like, you got to get him playing up." Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember talking about one of the biggest things I talked to Dave and Maddox about was the hockey IQ side. Learn how to play the game, or learn the game, not play, learn the game at a young age. But his natural instincts put him at a different level. I believe that you need to have hockey sense before you can learn hockey IQ. He has such an elite hockey sense that the game is so natural for him. Then you add his skating and his puck skills, his shot. But the biggest asset for me with him is his want to learn and his compete. The competitive edge is off the charts.
People saw it in the Max tournament, right? Like, as an under Eric Francis from Sportsnet was just like, I could not believe how hard he was playing.
And spent 2 minutes with the kid or the young man. It's a conversation.
Yeah,
you're having a conversation with a 20-year-old, and real special person, special family, great people to be around, no question.
So, it's getting to that. Obviously, you seem excited to be back in the town. Always fun to come back into the old barn and lead your kids here. And always, I'm assuming your competitive edge is like, you'd love to win this game.
Yeah, well, it's killing me right now because we've had such a tough couple months, and we've seen us take some strides. And like I said, we're hoping to get a couple guys back in the lineup tonight, which really will give us a boost of energy and some confidence. But we still have to go out and play hard and compete hard to win a hockey game against a team that we've lost to twice now. A good young team. They're very well coached. They play hard. So we have to be ready for the challenge.
You mentioned yesterday you got to come in and watch Jesse play. Right? Special, obviously, living in Red Deer, the family's here still in Regina. Got to be hard. Real difficult. It's Jesse's having a good year.
Jesse's having a good year. He is. Yeah. He is really excited for him. Their team is good. They've got the young Dayton Marshall kid who's a special kid as well. We're all going to see him coming up for sure. But it was really exciting to see him play there. My daughter Avery played basketball, so I got to go and watch some of that. And always my son, he had his own volleyball practice with club volleyball. So, but I got to spend a couple hours with him last evening, and then take them all to school this morning. And
perfect. Mama's doing a lot of heavy lifting again, though, right?
She won't even be here tonight. Andrea can't even. Nobody can. They all play. We've got 2 volleyball games and a hockey practice, and so they won't be here. They're next door, actually, at the volley barn, I think it is. Next door. So.
It's always amazed me, right? Like how you're just juggling.
Oh,
and it's like,
I'm not juggling much. Andrea's a rock star.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. In closing, I want to have some fun here. 39 years ago, Youngblood released on this day. I'm crazy. Al Miller called me crazy. I know Slapshot is the right. I like Youngblood a little bit more. When you go back to watching that for the first time as a young Dave Struch, probably at the Capitol 4 in Saskatoon. What do you remember?
You know what it would have been? It would have been the Capitol 4.
That's where I saw it in '86. I don't know why my sister took me to that show at 9 years old, because the Miss McGill and everything was going.
Well, for me, it would have been the excitement of getting to the next level. This is what it is. This is going to be great.
I'm taping my stick like with the one strip of white tape.
Oh man, that's great stories, man. Jeez.
What a flick, though, right? Yeah. And then he goes to the farm for a weekend, learns how to fight. It's so far-fetched, Racky.
Yeah, but when you look at it now and you think about, I know this. I think you might know it too. Wendell Clark has got a barn. I think he has his own barn with an indoor rink and everything in Toronto. I've heard this story. So when I think of when he goes back to the farm, and you think of the Wendell and Carey and where they're from. And I think of the when he goes back, he learns how to fight. That's the place that I believe Wendell might have there in Toronto. And but that's the way hockey was. There's I'm sure there's some parents that are my age, our age, that would want to go through that, but it sure isn't that way anymore.
The rookie hazing and the Patrick Swayze and the thing. Always a pleasure, buddy.
Brian, thank you very much.
So much fun. Head coach of the Red Deer Rebels, former head coach of our Regina Pats, Dave Struch, joining us. We are live at the Brandt Centre getting ready for the Pats and Rebels tonight. We are streaming at sportscage.com.
Every acre, every seed, every plant. The Fendt Momentum Planter makes everything count. Hydraulic delta force from Precision Planting creates specific downforce for each of the 48 row units across the 60-foot toolbar, which controls compaction, allowing you to make a big impact without leaving one. Grow bold with the Fendt Momentum Planter from Nick Service in Emerald Park. nickservice.com.
It's time to turn up the heat on trades at Crestview. For a limited time, get a $2,500 trade-in bonus on any trade-in. We're going to work to get you the same or similar payment to what you got right now. And we got something for everybody. Over 200 brand new vehicles, Jeeps, Rams, Caravans, and so much more. Plus, Capital's 100K giveaway is back in Crestview. Check out capital100k.ca for your chance to win. We're turning up the heat on trades at Crestview Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Proud member of the Capital Automotive Group.
The folks at Freeze Tallman want to talk about being more than just lumber. They want to talk about decking, railing, drywall, insulation, siding, roofing, windows, interior doors, and more. They want to talk about improving your home inside and out. They want to talk about excellent customer service and a drive to serve you as best as they can. Keep the conversation going. Head to Freeze Tallman today in Regina and Fort Capel. When planning your next building project, think Freeze Tallman. Freeze Tallman, let's get you building.
Please, sir, can I have some warmth?
Warmth? You want warmth?
You didn't call Busy Bee, did you? Now it's winter and all the homeless rats are getting in.
I wish they had fixed that door then. It's dreadfully cold.
Go over there and eat your gruel. They gave you more. If rats are getting in your garage, just call Busy Bee. They can fix or replace any commercial or garage door.
Please, sir.
Shut up. Busy Bee Doors, the garage door specialists.
The all-new Sports Cage continues. You can watch our live stream at sportscage.com and always on the radio. Saskatchewan's voice for local sports, 620 CKRM.
Clutch performer time for our friends at Nick Service in Emerald Park, your local Massey Ferguson, Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fendt dealer. You can call 781-1077. Locally, last night, there was the Regina Pat Canadians and Saskatoon Contacts up in Saskatoon. Jonas Sievertson, 1 goal, 1 assist again. But I got to give, we got to give props here on the clutch performer to Addie Price, who was in net for the Saskatoon Contacts. 51 saves.
Oh, busy night.
The final score was 3-1.
Wow.
So that's Caden Price's brother, who was on the World Junior team. So that's a little local flair. Also, we'll go with Leland Cody and Josh Heisted. 2 goals each as Fort Knox dumped the Regina Silver Foxes 6-3 in Junior B action. I'd like to go to, I don't even know who did it. I was going to say the person who directed Youngblood as another clutch performer. Such a good show. Do you remember that show?
Oh, 100%. I've seen it plenty of times. To me,
Sharky's never seen it. What a nerd. Sharky's a hockey guy.
Did his son have a VCR? There's got to be some story there. I think he's been on so many buses. How did they not slam it in a bus?
He was this wasn't even his parents' VCR. It's probably his going to school. Sharky, you've never seen Youngblood?
I think he's just something he fell and he forgets that he saw it.
Yeah, that could happen.
It's a beauty. That opening scene, of the skates on the ice and just I'm like, it gets you, you're in like that. I don't know, as a Canadian kid, watching the opening scene of him skating on the outdoor rink, and you're just like, oh, this is going to be a beaut. And it doesn't disappoint. Like, I'm sure I watched it with my kids. It was probably 15 years ago now, like once they got old enough to watch it, and see him throw on the skates. And
Mrs. S still doesn't think it's a good idea for ours. So I might sneak it in at some point here, but I went to it in '86. I was 9 years old.
Yeah,
my sister took me, and then I was like, there's a few parts of the program, but it was like, yeah. And then as you started going, it was, a little cheesy, a little far-fetched, but still a classic. So, whoever, like Rob Lowe, right? Patrick Swayze, rest in peace. Keanu Reeves, I heard it was his first ever movie.
Oh,
first ever.
I don't know.
Boys have a clip here of Wayne Gretzky talking about young blood. So we're tying this all into our clutch performer for Nick Service in Emerald Park, your local Massey Ferguson Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fent dealer. Fellas, if you want to play the clip of Wayne Gretzky talking on TNT about young blood.
We played in LA one year, and Glenn was really good about keeping the guys happy and loose. And I had a couple buddies, David Foster and his friend Rob Lowe was going to do a hockey movie, Youngblood. And I said, well, come down to the morning skate. And after we do our morning skate, it's only going to be 20 minutes. You guys can jump on the ice. So we're doing some of these drills, and they came out to the door in the old LA Forum, and Glenn said, who's that down in the corner? I said, oh, it's just Rob Lowe and David Foster. They're going to come on after the skate. Say they're skated all the way down there. I said, no, get them in the drills. Next thing I know, I'm passing the puck with Rob Lowe, thinking, what are we doing? We had a game that night. But Glenn was really good about that kind of stuff. Anyway, all the guys loved it. Then they went on to do a movie, which our buddy Rick Tocchet was in, Youngblood.
Yeah. Did you guys win the game?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That's good. Good luck to Rob Lowe. There you go.
Wheeling around with Rob Lowe and David Foster out there. Well, the funny part of it was Rob never really played hockey. It was his brother Chad, who was a hockey player that grew up playing a lot of ice hockey. But Rob turned out okay. He was out there. He was a good athlete, so it worked out.
He was pretty good on skates?
Yeah, he was actually really good. He's a good athlete.
Not bad. I have to tell you, you're going to be excited about this.
Oh,
Youngblood,
yeah.
getting it going.
Doing the reboot, Wayne.
Yeah.
Look at the flow on I'm not telling you guys any more stories.
Oh, look at that. Rob Lowe has an
Oh, my goodness.
Funny stuff. And then Patrick Swayze had that sweet, loft. He lived on his own. He didn't have a billet. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's like Davey, like Struch talked about, right? Like you kind of were like, or was it Al? I don't know. They're like, you wanted to go through that when you're young. It's like, that's what it's like. You ever played juniors? And Racky. They never should have cut Racky to begin with. I know it's a movie. They needed that in the lineup, though. They needed that, big body, that presence in there.
A little bit of crazy.
Rack. Yeah. Why would you cut that guy? Yeah. You're going to end up seeing him, Chadwick. Dummy. Chadwick's daughter, too. She was a nice gal. Yeah, it's a great flick. Yeah, 39 years ago, Youngblood was released. Let's take a quick break. We come back. We're going to talk some CFL. Big news out of Rider Camp today. Extension season. You're listening to the Sports Cage on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM, and watching it on the stream, sportscage.com.
The Saskatchewan Snowmobile Association would like to remind you to be safe this winter. Proper snowmobile clothing, including gloves, boots, and helmets, should be worn at all times. Also, please remember to register your sleds. Registration fees go to the clubs to help cover grooming and maintenance costs. And always respect private property. Off-trail riding on private lands without permission is trespassing. And finally, remember, speed, drugs, and alcohol kill. Never ride impaired. For more info or to take the snowmobile safety course, visit sasksnow.com.
Experience counts, and Louis Dreyfus Yorkton has over 100 years combined with our marketing team. If you need to move canola before seeding, we have space, and our driveway is open from 6 a.m. till 7:30 p.m. Monday to Friday. LDC has off-grade canola options with paper blending on moisture and green. Plus, we also accept heated canola. Call today and find out why producers trust Louis Dreyfus in Yorkton, 877-782-8882, or visit ldcyorkton.com.
at the cabin, or on the farm. Access Rural Internet gives you speed and service you can rely on. Right now, get Access Rural Internet for as low as $69.95 a month for 24 months, including free service calls by our local techs, a free Wi-Fi router, and a strong, reliable signal matched by our strong, reliable customer service. Great service is never far away with Access Rural Internet. Visit myaccess.ca to book your free site survey.
0% financing or instant discount. The decision is yours to make at Future Ford in Melville. Right now, you can get into a brand new 2024 Ford F-150 and get 0% financing up to 72 months or get $8,000 off the price. Plus, as a bonus from Future Ford, they're throwing in free oil changes. If a new truck doesn't fit your lifestyle or needs, no problem. Get 0% financing for up to 60 months on select Escape, Bronco Sport, Mustang Mach-E, and more. Check out their website, futureford.ca, and see their great selection today. The future is Future Ford in Melville. Since 1949, Nelson Homes has been providing you one-stop shopping for ready-to-move homes, panelized packages, and on-site builds. Nelson Homes' team of authorized dealers all over Saskatchewan would be happy to help you turn your dream home into a reality. In the Saskatoon area, call Kurt at Canadian Timber Homes or call 1-800-661-6534 for more information. Nelson Homes, trusted quality and service since 1949.
Welcome back to the all-new Sports Cage. Connect with the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262.
All right, welcome back. Housekeeping time, a lot to get to. If you haven't heard, the Riders have extended through 2026 the CFL's most outstanding defensive player, Roland Milligan Jr.
Best, of the Craig Reynolds era, because it's Chris Jones, Jeremy O'Day, best American player we've gotten. I don't think it's even a debate. He is a stud, and he's worth the price of admission. He's worth going and getting a jersey, especially now he's going to be here for another 2 years.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He's that guy, right? He's that guy. You're going to be seeing his jersey being worn 15 years from now on Labor Day.
Well, we talked to Henry Burris in hour one. We'll replay that at about 5:30, and Hank is singing the praises.
Yeah. Well, you don't need to watch very long to see what he brings to the field, and even obviously all his talents and that stuff. I think just in terms of that leadership in the room and making sure everybody's on the same page. Heard lots of stories about when he was down, it really hurt the team, not just from a talent standpoint, but from who's going to step up out here and make sure everyone's minding their P's and Q's.
The text line brought to you by Prairie Land Rentals since 1986. You can deal with the owner on Albert Street in Regina for your big job or small job. Prairie Land Rentals. Thanks to everyone who's been texting in today. One here caught me, no name. Can we have a discussion on the salary cap? The TV contract is way too low. Sirius has not changed in 4 years. I don't know. TV contract is what it is, I think, especially with, a lot of people cutting the cord, as they say. Yeah. TV revenues, I don't know where they are. It's probably a good question for Glenn next week. Salary cap when it comes to the Riders, Maz and I are on the same. You're an accountant, so you can chime in. Maz and I are on the same team. It's just like, who cares? Just win.
Yeah. Yeah. It's again, there's a salary cap with some flexibility.
Because if you go over, what is it? If you go over the first threshold, it's like
just dollar for dollar
for
the first $100,000.
First $100,000,
and then you can start losing draft picks. Yeah, which
dollar for dollar.
There was that talk as soon as sort of the Grey Cup ended. There was the talk. People were asking Winnipeg, "You're hosting it. It's in your barn. Are you gonna, be willing to step up financially?" And put, because we saw that happen in BC. Now it didn't work out for the Lions last year, but they went all in. Do you know what I mean? They didn't leave anything on the table. It's when you host, there's obviously that question. I think for the Riders, it's and we had Trevor on when he signed, when he re-upped. And it's Grey Cup this year. Like there's no, like, you got Roland back, you got Harris back. We haven't been to the show in 10 years. This is
You
the
want to
year.
add? You want to add? I think we all want to add just one. Maybe take the top off, to use Darian's words, receiver.
Yeah. Like, and if you have that opportunity, I think you have to, this year you have to do it. You can't wait. Trevor Harris, I don't think, is going to get younger this year.
That's usually not how it works.
No. So I think, if we decide that we're bringing back these key pieces and making a run at it, hopefully, that we can make that one extra move that puts us over the top.
We'll talk some more CFL hockey CFL football with Farhan Lalji, who's coming up to start hour 3. It is Flavored Fridays at the Canadian Brew House. You get a $20.99 for an 8-ounce prime rib tonight, or you can go to Big Daddy, 12-ounce prime rib, $25.99 prime rib, mashed potatoes, au jus, seasonal vegetables, also $9.99 tankards. It's Canadian Brew House, 2 locations in Regina and 1 in Moose Jaw. Local hockey this evening around the area. Right, we're at the Brandt Centre. Obviously, the Pats play Red Deer Rebels, 7 p.m. Elsewhere in the Western Hockey League for Extreme Hockey and Sport, Brandon's in Moose Jaw, Wenatchee's in Saskatoon to take on the Blades, Calgary's at the Oil Kings. Swift Current Carter Moan, youngster, getting his first WHL game. Swifties in Kamloops. Also Medicine Hat in Portland, Tri-City in PG. Vic and Spokane. That's actually an interesting matchup if you're following the BC division. If you are hardo of the WHL, but I just think that's a real interesting game. In Vancouver, Seattle also tonight. SJHL, Weyburn's in Estevan. Notre Dame's in Yorkton, Humboldt's at the Battlefords. We got our senior hockey report coming up in hour 3. Some provincial action starting tonight as well. When it goes to the SJHL, I just want to pull this up because our Worth the Drive game of the week for Southie Mainline Chrysler, the new king of trucks in Southie, Worth the Drive every time guaranteed, is tomorrow. And it is at 7:30. So I don't know if you're driving from Regina or around the area, you probably want to leave at about 8 a.m. It's Melfort in Flin Flon, 7:30 tomorrow night. The SJHL Worth the Drive game of the week for Southie Mainline Chrysler. AAA female loop, no games this weekend. Battleford still leads with 57 points. Saskatoon's in second. Regina's in third with 37 points. AAA midget, Tisdale's in the Gateway to the North tonight to take on Prince Albert. Battleford's in Warman, heck of a noodle bowl there. Tomorrow and Sunday, Blazers in Moose Jaw. If you're in the Moose Jaw area, that will be actually really good hockey to go watch. AAA midget, both games in Moose Jaw tomorrow and Sunday.
Got downtown tonight too, as part of Frost. Got the Grind snowboard competition starts tonight.
Oh yeah,
finals.
Are you in
night.
it?
Oh yeah, can barely get on the treadmill, let alone on a snowboard. Yeah, no, but it's new to the city. Looks fantastic. And from my office downtown, I could see him building. It took him about 2 weeks to build the.
Wow.
Yeah, it's massive and it looks really cool with this snow. I think it's going to add a whole nother level to it, and it's beautiful down there, actually, in the park. They got the little skate rink. So Frost all day tomorrow, too. Go out there. They got fire pits. Fun stuff. Lots of stuff going on in the city.
That does sound awesome. Also got to mention tonight, the U of R Cougars are hosting Manitoba. That's at the Sixer, C6 there. They got a nice little $5 pint deal. If you're going there, they're hosting Manitoba Bisons, and it's in support of the Adam Harold Foundation tonight. So some good university hockey. Cougars and Bisons. Also, U of R women's volleyball is home to Fraser Valley this evening. Okay, senior hockey. I'll give this little plug. Senior C, game 1. When we were in Kenora a couple weeks ago, there were the people just wanted to talk. What do you think about us against Cardiff? What do you think about Cardiff? What do you think about? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know enough, but I'm a big Cobra guy now. I'm a Kenora Cobra. Kenora's in Cardiff. Brandon from the Monday Nooner had a good one today. He says they're trying to steal game 1 and the Kishka tonight in Carnduff, 8 p.m. Also in the Nauticue, it just league play, Cornac, Rollo, Avonlea, Radville, Mossbank, Assiniboia, Yellowgrass at La Flèche. There's a little senior hockey. And the senior hockey report for Coolbet and Future Ford is coming up in hour 3.
And if you're going to those games, get out on the road early, drive safe, go slow. A little bit of snow out there today, so
doesn't look.
It
looks like it's still blowing out there. Oh, I got a text in here from Furnace Face. He said that he can barely see 10 feet in front of him. He's driving back from Saskatoon right now. Also, another note on the Saskatoon front. Boston Tate from Estevan, from the Estevan area. I don't know if he's from Estevan, he's from the Estevan area, plays with the Pat Canadians. He's playing tonight for Wenatchee in Saskatoon. So Moen getting his first game for Swift in Kamloops. Boston Tate up playing with Wenatchee. And it's going to be so exciting for the parents.
Oh, yeah.
But not in driving. Like now they're driving from Estevan. They're like, oh, geez.
Well, hopefully they got up there early.
Or they know someone with a bird.
Yeah.
Those oil companies down there. Just buzz us up to Saskatoon for the night. Yeah, really cool that he gets to play and Moen in Kamloops. I was hoping Swift Current was at home because I'm there tomorrow night. It's like, I haven't been to a game in Swifty forever. Like I said, Wong's definite hit up. It's awesome town. Hopefully Ryan Schweitzer's in town. We can go and hang out, talk a little Western Hockey League action. Still more to come. Hour 3 of the program. We're waiting for Braxton Whitehead to come by. We're hoping he comes by in the next little bit. And then hour 3, like I said, Farhan Lalji. We'll get into some CFL talk. If you got any questions for Farhan, hit us up on the Prairie Land Rentals text line, 936-6262. We always like hearing from you. It is Barney. It is DA, CNC back at the fort there. It is the Sports Cage streaming live at sportscage.com.
The team of experienced farmland real estate agents at Shepherd Realty in Regina has just listed for sale 742 acres of primarily grain with some pasture near Wood Mountain, 1,118 acres of grainland near Dysart, and 948 acres of pasture near Ogama. To learn more, or if you're considering selling your farm or ranch property, call 352-1866. shepherdrealty.ca.
For everything hockey, head to Extreme Hockey and Sports. Spring hockey is around the corner. Get fitted to your specs with the best team at Extreme Hockey. Be sure to check out Umbrella Marketing and Tarrington and his team for all your team, corporate, and business needs. Corporate or work event? Check out our custom Yeti and engraving options. Make any occasion a special one. Extreme Hockey and Sport, 1425 McIntyre Street, and the Pro Shop conveniently located at the Cooperator Center.
It's time to turn up the heat on trades at Crestview. For a limited time, get a $2,500 trade-in bonus on any trade-in. We're going to work to get you the same or similar payment to what you got right now. And we got something for everybody. Over 200 brand new vehicles, Jeeps, Rams, Caravans, and so much more. Plus, Capital's 100K giveaway is back in Crestview. Check out capital100k.ca for your chance to win. We're turning up the heat on trades at Crestview Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Proud member of the Capital Automotive Group.
Get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
At Western Pizza, you can order online. Nothing overly crazy about that, right? But you can also get free delivery on orders over $25 for a limited time. Now that is kind of crazy. Pizza, Caesar salad with satisfying garlic toast, baked lasagna, crispy chicken wings, and more on their extensive menu. Visit westernpizzaexpress.ca and get free delivery today. Western Pizza. Big on toppings, big on taste.
And get it hot and get it fast. Western Pizza.
The folks at Freeze Tallman want to talk about being more than just lumber. They want to talk about decking, railing, drywall, insulation, siding, roofing, windows, interior doors, and more. They want to talk about improving your home inside and out. They want to talk about excellent customer service and a drive to serve you as best as they can. Keep the conversation going. Head to Freeze Tallman today in Regina and Fort Capel. When planning your next building project, think Freeze Tallman. Freeze Tallman, let's get you building.
Right now, Real Canadian Superstore, get member-only pricing on PC frozen fruit, 300 to 600 grams for only $3.88. Plus, look in your PC Optimum app for deals like beef short ribs at $8.99 a pound. Hurry, PC Optimum More Days ends Wednesday.
The all-new Sportscage. Watch our live stream at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
We are 620 CK.
And back at the Brandt Centre, Barney Shinker, DA, Pats and Red Deer tonight, 7 p.m. puck drop. Travel safe. Some blowing snow out there. Joining us, if you're watching the stream, one of our elder statesmen here for the Regina Pats, Braxton Whitehead. He's been on the program before. He's live in the flesh. Did you say you had trouble getting into the Brandt Centre?
Yeah, just the roads are bad, so they're all backed up all the way up Blue Van. So
people
there's
should
a little
drive
traffic warning for you if you're driving.
Our traffic guy, Braxton Whitehead. He does traffic on the ones here on the Sports Cage. Hey, let's start with this. It's family weekend here. Really cool for you as your sister was skating with the Pats today.
Yeah, no, it was super special. She mentioned to me a couple weeks ago that, our team in Pittsburgh didn't have anything going on this weekend. So I was like, well, bring your gear up. I'll see if I can get you on the ice. And kind of asked the question to Hoffer there, and he loved the idea. So, I was kind of surprised with all the media attention it got today, and I'm super glad that everybody was supportive of it. But yeah, no, it was awesome. I'm glad she was out there.
What kind of player is she?
A lot better goal scorer than me, so I can say that. Just kind of a power forward, I think, but still has a 200-foot game. Yeah, you'll be seeing her definitely in the NCAA and in the future, and yeah, I'm super proud of her.
She hasn't committed anywhere or anything yet.
No, she's
going to come visit. Yeah, so ASU needs to get a women's program.
They do, and then we can link up there and do the brother sister combo. But no, she's super talented and. Definitely somebody that I try to look up to every day. She's kind of one of my role models, even though she's younger than me.
Right on.
Oh, that's awesome. So game tonight. Excited to have Red Deer coming in the barn. We talked with Al earlier about all the changes this year. What's it been like in the dressing room and in the bus? Like you guys, now you've sort of been a team for a while. You starting to feel like a team?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, at first it's kind of hard when, you have like some guy that's been here for 2 or 3 years and then somebody new comes in and then just all that change is kind of difficult to keep the morale up in the dressing room. But yeah, no, recently since everybody's been back, back from Christmas, we haven't made that many trades since then. And it's just, we've all gelled together. We do a lot of team building stuff. I know we did something with Regina SWAT a few weekends ago, which was awesome. And then we helped out with Special Olympics the day before that, actually. So a bunch of stuff like that we do, I think just brings us closer together.
Tough for you probably initially because you got all these young guys, right? Like it's like we joked it's like a glorified AAA midget team going in and playing, but you're one of the older guys. You've kind of been through the league. How did you deal with the young guys and even Wagner getting called up when you guys went and did that Calgary Med Hat Lethbridge swing? Like how did you kind of just calm the young guys, I guess?
I mean, you look at those 3 teams, right, and they're, powerhouse WHL squads that they put together there in those 3 locations. But, I mean, I don't think we look at it as like, wow, we're going out and we're playing all these, NHL top prospects and all that type of stuff. I think we just got to focus on our own game. And, you look at the game that we had against Lethbridge, it was really close, right? It was 3-2, and then they got an empty net, which made it 4-2. But, yeah, we can compete with those teams if we play our way, and I think it shows a lot, and it shows the future. This team is really bright.
Scrappy? Is that a good way to describe you guys? Like just as kind of just grind it out. Like you beat PA here last weekend.
Right now, I would say yes, it's scrappy, but then I see some of the skill that those younger guys have that will flourish in the future, I'm sure. So, yeah, I mean, it's scrappy right now, but I think there's some skill to come.
Yeah.
So what's it like? Obviously. Your last year, this grind of January, with the large schedule, has it been nice to have that young? I assume the young guys are excited to get on the bus because they haven't done it as much as you. Is that helping? Sort of, you have a road trip coming up next week. Tier 2 is how are you feeling in your the grind here in January?
Surprisingly, I actually like the bus a lot. I think it's kind of relaxing in a weird way. Like, you just put on the headphones, watch a movie, tune out for a few hours. Aren't expected to do much when you're on the bus. So I actually like it. And I will miss it because I think NCAA, it's a lot of airplane travel, which is a little bit different. But no, the young guys, just kind of showing them how road trips done. Like you need to go to bed on time. You can't be, messing around with all each other's stuff in your hotel rooms and all, like kind of the maturity part of being on the road it's a different game when you're on the road versus at home. So.
I'm going to put you on the spot here a bit. So you saw, and you guys didn't have a great game against Medhat. You got into a lot of penalty trouble, but you saw Calgary, you saw Medhat, you saw Lethbridge. If you had to do like a little, I'm not saying you're betting, but if I was going to maybe bet some futures here, should I put some fun money on? Who do you think comes out of there?
That's a tough question because it's like the way that I look at it is like, the first thought in my brain is like, okay, Medicine Hat's offense, right? Like if Lindstrom somehow comes back, and I think Basha's hurt as well, but if those two guys get back in the lineup, then they're going to be the most offensively dominant team in this league. And who
can shut them down, do you think, out of the other two?
Right. And then Lethbridge, I would say, is the most complete, solid team out of those three. But then Calgary is like a good mix of Medicine Hat and Lethbridge, if that makes sense. So really, I think it's anybody's game. But I could see Medicine Hat being so offensive, putting up, 5-6 goals a game that it makes it hard for other teams to kind of compete with that.
So obviously, moving down in the States, far away next year, what's the family thinking in your last, run here, and are they getting out to as many games as they can?
Well, where are they? They live in Kentucky.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
that's
urban country.
I guess Regina, you're going to move closer to home. But how are you feeling about these? Is it? Are you counting down the games? Do you have it in the back of your mind all the time?
Emotional.
Yeah, I mean a little bit. I try not to think about it because I will miss Regina a lot, and I just want to make the most of every game and try to play as consistent as I can. So I think those are important things to think about. I mean, my family coming up, they try. My dad, he's a pilot, so he works quite a bit, and his schedule's kind of all over the place. And then my mom actually lives with my sister in Pittsburgh, does the whole schooling apartment hockey combo there. So they try and come out as much as they can, but I think my dad came out once this year, and this is the first time my mom's come. And then I think they're going to try and come out again for my last games, I think, in Brandon and here. So
I'm actually quite surprised that your sister's gear showed up from Pittsburgh. There would have been some jumping around, and they're like,
that's what I said. I was like, your gear made it all fine. Like the sticks even came too, and she's like, yeah, they did. I was like, wow.
Hoons could hook her up with a stick down there. Okay, let's have some fun here, boys. Do you have that picture to put up? It's coming up in a couple of weeks, right? The Four Nations face-off. First off, what are your thoughts on the USA jersey? Being an American, you're obviously rooting there.
It's beautiful.
Is it?
It is perfect.
What do you think about how this is going to go down? You guys got a good team. I don't know if Austin Matthews is gonna. I don't know if he should go because his injury battle in Toronto.
Right.
But, what are you thinking about this? Is it going to be Canada, US?
I don't know. Like, I think that all those countries produce such good guys that it's really anybody's game any night. Like, you could see it might be one of those things where, like, Canada beats this team, and then this team beats, Sweden beats Finland, and then Finland beats the US.
Yeah.
And then the US beats Canada, obviously. But, yeah, just might be one of those situations. So,
do you like how that team is built? Because you think like USA hockey has come so far. I think it's great, and they're big again. Like they got some big bodies. Obviously, goaltending is unreal.
Right. So, I mean, I think it's a pretty complete team. Like if I'm no NHL GM or Four Nations Team USA GM or anything, but I like the way the squad looks, and I feel like my team would be pretty similar if I built it. So
there'll be some trash talking going on, though, won't there? And like,
oh yeah, but I feel a little bit outnumbered. If you know what I mean? Not too many American guys to get behind me on my opinions and everything. So
speaking of that, I want to ask you because you were the first player that came out and said had a verbal commit to ASU, which was great. We chatted about that. When it comes to the Western Hockey League, let's if we could maybe think about fast forwarding 5 years, even 10 years. Like a lot of people are talking about, it's going to be hard because these kids, is there going to be a commitment, or can they just leave? And I'm also thinking on the other side, though, some of these WHL teams will now get the American kids to come up and play because they're not going to be forced to play USHL or anywhere, right?
Right. And I mean, there are a lot of dual Canadian kids where, maybe their mom grew up in Calgary and their dad grew up in, Boston or something like that, where, the mom would be gung-ho for sending their kid to Canada, but, they would have never done it before because the dad's from Boston and, they're just so NCAA push forward there. So now it kind of gives them best of the both worlds. And yeah, I think you will see that, especially, in Minnesota areas, even for the OHL and the Q, like kids from the Northeast that wouldn't have gone before. I could 100% see it because you're not really risking anything.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Have you heard obviously have anybody been reaching out to you as an American who's come up here? Have you had any of those conversations? People trying to suss it out if they're getting starting to get more recruits? And we talked about there's an American draft here in the Dub coming up right away in the off season. Are you expecting that people to kind of reach out and ask you what the experience was?
Yeah, I've had a few buddies. Like most of the time, it's like when I played in Alaska, it's like the little brothers of the kids that I played with now. They're coming in that are draft here, and they just kind of are asking like, okay, like what's the schedule like? Like what's the travel like? And they're already gone playing at Shattuck right now. Those little kids, and they're really good. So, but I mean, they're thinking about coming, which their older brothers never did. So
exactly,
that's kind of the difference. So.
Braxton Whitehead joining us here from the Regina Pats. The Pats take on the Red Deer Rebels tonight. Braxton, always nice to talk to you. You got a gift with the interview thing, so keep that up because those when you start doing interviews down in ASU next year, it's going to be like, oh, this kid can actually carry an interview. We just killed, I think, 12 minutes here. So, you want to give us a weather report before you leave?
Yeah, snow blowing from sideways, the other side, from the ground, and from the top.
Yeah.
So yeah,
there's our weather and traffic reporter Braxton Whitehead. It is the Sports Cage, streaming live from the Brandt Centre on 620 CKRM.
We are 620 CKRM, a Harvard media station, streaming online at 620CKRM.com.
It's 5:01. Good evening. There's some light snow and some blowing snow in Regina, and it's -14. I'm Corey Atkinson from the Harvard Media News Center with 620 CKRM News for Echo Sound in Fort Capel. Stay connected with the new cell phone from Echo Sound. Call 306-332-6711. It's not looking like a good night on the roads in and around Regina, Moose Jaw, Lumsden, Milestone, Momart, Mortlack, and Mossbank due to blowing snow. Travel not recommended in all directions in many of these areas as the winds pick up. Check the highway hotline before making any travel decisions tonight. U.S. President Donald Trump says there is nothing that will forestall him from going ahead with imposing 25% tariffs on Canadian and Mexican goods as of tomorrow. He made that declaration in the Oval Office today, calling tariffs economic tools that are misunderstood.
Tariffs don't cause inflation, they cause success. They cause big success. So we're going to have great success. There could be some temporary short-term disruption, and people will understand that.
Trump says the U.S. should not be subsidizing Canada, a word that he has frequently used to characterize the trade balance between the two countries. Google payments for Canadian news organizations will begin later than expected. The Canadian Journalism Collective is in charge of administering the $100 million the giant tech company agreed to pay news outlets in Canada in exchange for an exemption from the federal government's Online News Act. The collective says work is underway to assess applicants, and news businesses should expect to find out if they're eligible between mid-February and mid-March. Those eligible will get money 2 weeks after the collective receives a signed recipient agreement and banking information. The cash was initially expected to start going out by the end of January. The area over the Potomac River and near Reagan National Airport is now off limits to most helicopters to ensure safety in the aftermath of the mid-air crash that killed 67 people this week. Reporter Stephen Portnoy has more details.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says the new restriction is aimed at securing the airspace near Reagan National Airport and keeping planes and helicopters safe. The Army Black Hawk that crashed into the passenger jet was supposed to stay at 200 feet and remain over the eastern bank of the river, but there are indications it diverted from the proper altitude and course. In keeping with the new restriction, another route will have to be developed for helicopters farther from the riverbank.
The restrictions are expected to continue at least until the National Transportation Safety Board finishes its preliminary report. That's expected within a month. Coldplay frontman Chris Martin has been added to the lineup for the opening ceremonies of the 2025 Invictus Games in Vancouver. Games organizers announced today that the English vocalist will perform at BC Place Stadium on February 8th, joining a star-studded lineup that includes Katy Perry, Noah Kahan, and Nelly Furtado. Martin had been involved with the Games since they were founded by Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, in 2014, and composed the Invictus Anthem, used in the medal ceremonies at every Games. It's 5:03, and that's your 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sasktoday.ca and 620ckrm.com. Your weather is next.
Oh, finally! There it is!
Whoa, did you order pizza?
No, even better. I called Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer.
Oh, so what'd you order?
Well, they have all the top-of-the-line smartphones with all the latest features, and so many great plans, man.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it is the pizza guy. Hey, guy.
Tell him to go away. We're waiting on Echo Sound.
Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer in Fort Quipel. EchoSound.ca.
We'll still take the pizza, though.
A few years ago, I was doing okay, but the rising cost of living has made my credit card bills go through the roof, and I don't know how to handle it anymore.
Times are tough right now. The cost of living is causing many to fall into debt through no fault of their own. It's easy to feel overwhelmed and stressed, but there are options that can help you get back on your feet. My name is Jasmine Brown, and I'm a licensed insolvency trustee. I can help you find a solution to become debt-free right here in Regina. Visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
I'm Corey Atkinson with your 620 CKRM Precision Weather Forecast, brought to you by Linex Regina. Serious protection, killer looks, 1865 McCarra Street. Now here's Precision Weather meteorologist Phil Spivak.
A blowing snow advisory is in effect through the night. Gusty winds could get to around 60 kilometers per hour at times. Temperature not moving a whole lot. Will be around minus 12, may move within a few degrees of there, but little or no actual drop nor rise. We do rise through the day on Saturday. Most of the steadier snow's over with. Still some light snow and flurries, generally only around a centimeter, could be 2 in a few spots. But the wind will still continue, especially through the morning and midday hours, gusts to around 50, then diminishing. In fact, by Saturday night, much lighter wind. The flurries come to an end, temperatures fall off to almost minus 20, and they continue to very slowly fall through the day on Sunday. It's a mix of sun and clouds that are with us for the weather. And the wind picks back up, this time out of the west to northwest. Wind chills down well into the minus 30s on Sunday. Cloud and some minus 25 Monday. Another round of light snow Tuesday, minus 22 the high. With your 620 CKRM weather forecast, I'm Precision Weather meteorologist Phil Spivak.
Across the province at this hour, Saskatoon is minus 16, Swift Current is minus 9, Assiniboia minus 11, Broadview Moosomin minus 18, Yorkton Melville minus 20, Estevan and Weyburn are both minus 15. At this hour in Moose Jaw, there's some light snow and some blowing snow. Winds are from the southeast at 41 and it's minus 13. Regina has some light snow and blowing snow. Winds are from the southeast at 55 and it's minus 14. For more local news that matters to you, subscribe to the daily newsletter at sasktoday.ca.
When you want the best for your truck, you want Line-X. Your truck has withstood the harshest elements Saskatchewan has thrown at it. Rocks, gravel, rain, sleet, and snow, and left with no chips, no rust. Line-X protective coating keeps your truck's bed liners, rocker panels, and bumpers looking like brand new. Don't settle for Brand X. Go with Line-X. It's serious protection. Come see why everybody loves taking their truck to Line-X Regina for their rocker panels, bumpers, and more. Line-X. Make your truck complete. 1865 McCarra Street.
Did you know that February 11th is 211 Day? It's a day to raise awareness of this valuable service that connects people to community programs, social services, government supports, and more. 211 is answered by a real person who is trained to find the support you need. Life can be hard. Finding help can be easy. You're not alone. Help starts with 211 for all of life's challenges. Just dial 211 or visit sk.211.ca. Help starts here.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents the all-new Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Nelson Homes, supplying home packages and RTMs for over 65 years. Be a part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The all-new Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Welcome back. Hour 3 of the program, live from the Brandt Centre. Barney Shinkaruk, Darren Anderson, CNC production company back at the Fort. It's the Pats and Red Deer Rebels tonight, 7 p.m. puck drop. Travel safe. If you're going to any hockey in the area, with Braxton Whitehead on before news there, and he was saying, it took him a while to get into the old parking lot tonight.
He said lined up already to get into the turn left off Louvain. So
yeah. Drive safe. Also drive safe if you're heading to any of the SJHL games. In Estevan, Weyburn in town to take on the Bruins. Notre Dame's in Yorkton, Humboldt's in the Battlefords. Elsewhere in the Western Hockey League for extreme hockey and sport, it is Brandon in Moose Jaw, Wenatchee at the Blades, Boston Tate from the Regina Pats Canadians playing for Wenatchee tonight against the Blades. So interesting and cool kind of side note there. Calgary's in Edmonton to take on the Oil Kings. Swift Current, another one to mention, with Carter Moen getting his first WHL game, son of former NHLer Travis Moen. He is playing for the Broncos in Kamloops. What else do we got? Senior hockey, we're going to do senior hockey report in a bit. Prairie Junior Hockey League. Last night it was Fort Knox 6-3 over the Silver Foxes. Leland Cody and Josh Heisted, 2 goals each. Pilot Butte is at the Royals up in Saskatoon tonight. No AAA. Last night it was the Pat Canadians 3-1 over the Contacts. Addie Price in net for the Contacts made 51 saves, I think it said.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Tomorrow in Moose Jaw, Blazers are in town. That's actually tomorrow and Sunday, doing 2 games in Moose Jaw, 2 of the top teams in the league. Pat Canadians are in Warman on Saturday. We'll get to the senior hockey stuff in the senior hockey report. Let's go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Free delivery on orders over $25 when you order at Western Pizza Express. With weather like this tonight, wherever you are, you got the Greek favorites. Why cook? Order Western Pizza. I know just by saying that ooey gooey pizza, you're hungry right now. So just do it. Treat yourself, as they say on this Friday. Farhan Lalji is out on the Western Pizza guest hotline, joining us. Farhan from the vehicle, again, from his 92 Cutlass. Farhan.
How did you know?
Could hear the engine rev.
You know, it didn't even have a built-in audio system. I had to bring in the home speaker system just to make it work, because the Cutlass didn't have an actual sound system in here.
Yeah, that's well, I'll ship you some 6x9s. I got some sick Alpines that I took out of my Corsica.
Love
back
it.
in the did you? So today, Riders announced they extended Roland Milligan Jr. through 2026. For you, and I always ask you this question, but from your side, was that a surprise? Was that on par? It's kind of a good move, obviously, for everyone in Riderville.
Yeah, no, you get this at this time of year, right? You get a wave of signings at the end of the year for teams that might be under the cap, and they can kind of put some money into last year for this year's players. But right around free agency, you also get teams that want to renegotiate their higher end players so they can get a better sense of what their cap is going to be both this year and next. So, if you're Roland Milligan, did you restructure so that you could get a bit more in the way of a signing bonus at the front end of that deal so that it helps the team out cap wise and opens up some things? So it's not unusual for this type of thing to happen at this time of year. Teams are going to all their players, asking them to tweak. If you're an American player, can you restructure a little less money, a little more signing bonus, and other guys certainly get asked to take a pay cut. I'm not saying that's what happened with Milligan, but it's smart of the Riders to lock up a cornerstone piece before they dive into the free agency.
So Farhan, DA here, obviously, everyone's sort of settled on the quarterback situation. So for free agency, nothing moving on there. But who's the one player you think that's available that could make a difference this year?
You talking about a quarterback or just any position, DA?
Sorry, not a quarterback. Sorry, because quarterbacks, everyone's sort of settled at quarterback. But what's that player that you think is going to be the piece that could push someone over the top?
Well, I think Wynton McManus might be a guy. You know, there's a lot of teams talking about him. You know, he had an exceptional season last year with Toronto. And, you know, if he had been healthy the whole year, he might have given Roland Milligan a run for that Defensive Player of the Year award. And, you know, so I think he is the rare American linebacker now that's going to make over $200,000 on whatever his deal looks like. So I think he's going to be one. But, you know, there's a lot of value in a number of spots, right? At receiver, there's a lot of talent there. You know, player like Dalton Schoen, Geno Lewis, these types of guys. I always view receivers as finishing pieces, even though it's a passing league. But I think a guy like McManus could really make a dent in some teams' lineup.
You mentioned a few other guys. Are there any maybe I was gonna get you to give me your top 5 free agent signings, but maybe if there was like the sneaky ones, the under the radar ones from Farhan Lalji.
Let's see. I think Niles Morgan, Edmonton's linebacker. Like if you want to make a big play for McManus and you don't get him, you might get really good value on a guy like Niles Morgan. And he's not going to come in cheap, but probably isn't going to be over $200,000. I like him as a player. I think, you know, as a linebacking core, Edmonton with him and Nick Anderson might have had the best in the league. I think Keon Julian Grant, a receiver, and I know he's Canadian, so it's not necessarily under the radar, but here's a guy that was in the top 5 in receiving the first half of the season. Then he got injured, and then his numbers tailed off a little bit when he came back, but I think there's a big ceiling there. A guy like Keandre Smith, you know, another Canadian receiver that I think can come in and give starters value right away and might not be a home run guy right away. So I think there's a lot of value there. And then I'm curious to see where David Beard lands. You know, because I think he's probably the best Canadian. He and Sean McEwen, I think, are the 2 best linemen available. But McEwen probably goes a little bit higher on the pecking order. And if you get Beard, I think, again, really good value there for him.
Which is, again, maybe a tough question. Is there a team that you think is going to be the most aggressive here in free agency?
I think Hamilton is going to be aggressive. You know, I think they really have some pressure in that marketplace to get better. I think Ted Govaya is going to want to make a statement early on. The team I'm most interested in is Calgary, because I think they realized at the end of last year they need significant change. They can't continue to do this, or we're not going to pay guys ever in free agency and expect to find value deals and have our scouting department get everything done. I think they understand they need to be more aggressive this year. So whether they make a pitch on a guy like Geno Lewis, you know, whether they try to get one of the defensive linemen that might become available, right? I do think they're absolutely going to be as aggressive as we've ever seen Calgary be in recent years.
So, you know, obviously this time of year, like you said, guys are getting signed. We're also seeing some salary cap casualties, maybe, you know, and out in BC as they try to work the new Rourke contract into reality coming here. Any other moves like that you've seen or heard scuttlebutt about around someone trying to manage the cap down?
Yeah, you know, I was told at one point earlier in the offseason that Toronto asked a lot of players to take salary cuts. I know BC has been going through it for sure. You saw Hollins get released, but they had conversations with Keon Hatcher. I don't know that a deal is done there, but there was a little bit of optimism today that they could get a renegotiation done. And, you know, he got paid last year when everyone knew he had the torn Achilles that was going to force him to miss 6 games and then maybe not be as effective when he got back. You look at, you know, they had a conversation with some of their offensive linemen, right, like the Suk Chungs and Michael Couture's and some of those guys. So I know BC has had to go through it significantly. Toronto, they were probably the quietest team in the month leading up to free agency, right? Like if you look, I think they had, prior to today, they might have had 2 guys re-signed. You know, yeah, I think the cap casualties have happened by now, right? Like tomorrow, most of those roster bonuses are due, and usually that's when you see them happen. So I think most of the guys, you know, there's even been guys that have been asked to, you know, just release me now so I can get a head start on free agency. But I think most of those hard cuts have been made.
Shifting quickly here to hockey, any nugget out of Vancouver? Are they moving either of those guys in the next weekish here?
Well, I think they're trying, right? Like they legitimately are trying, and there's been a lot there's been a lot of layers to that onion and stuff that I can't even talk about because I just don't want to speculate or put stuff out there that I feel strongly about, maybe hasn't been proven yet. So there's a lot of layers there, and they've clearly been trying to move JT Millar. The market for him is soft. So now they're thinking, okay, do we want to move Pettersson? And quite frankly, I think even if they move Pettersson, they're still going to want to move Millar, but maybe that happens in the offseason. And in the midst of that, they've won 3 straight games, right? Now, competition gets a little better tonight with Dallas, but even they're without Heiskanen, right? So it's been kind of a soft couple of games on their schedule that's kind of making them feel really good about themselves. So I think Jimmy Rutherford, though, he put all of that out on the table, right? Like everyone got their clothes taken off. There's no hiding. This is where we're at. So, they're going to try to be active. There's no doubt about it.
Okay, in closing, 39 years ago, Youngblood was released. Any fond memories of a youngster watching one of the greatest hockey movies ever?
Kelly McGillis, Patrick Swayze, Rob Lowe. It was good. What do I remember? You know what I remember? I remember that he was actually able to become like an entirely different player and person. Like it's like he got strong and he got tough, and he did that in 48 hours between games after he left the team and came back to the next game. I don't know how you do that. Like show me that workout program that in 48 hours, and there was the love scene, and then he had the hockey water bottle on the side of the bed, right? That he drank out of as soon as they finished. So those were two, and the tea with Miss McGee or whatever her name was.
McGill.
The
McGill.
Tea with Miss McGill. Yeah, like I remember that. So not a movie you forget. It's not Slapshot, but it's it's the next run down.
I know. Yeah, no, the going to the farm for 48 hours, becoming an absolute killer was awesome. I think there's a barn that they do that down by Cardiff. You can go do it in southern Saskatchewan.
Just bring over some Western pizza and just take good care of them all. And yeah,
you got it. All right, Farhan, thanks so much again.
Hey, what about Super Bowl? Are we going to talk Super Bowl? I know you're a Chiefs hater.
Saving it for next week. I'm building up my hatred. What are you going?
Yeah, I leave Sunday. I've done like 15 of these, so I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'm not on your team, you know that. Like, I like the Chiefs, and I like the Chiefs. I probably told you this before because I covered 7 of the Patriots' 9 Super Bowls. And so I will always be grateful to Andy Reid for taking me away from Bill Belichick. So I'm not going to – like if you got to choose between Andy Reid and Nick Sirianni, how can you pick Nick Sirianni? Like, how can you do that?
Well, because I don't want Mahomes and Kelsey to win. And Taylor Swift. That's how I pick.
Okay, well, Taylor Swift I get. But, Mahomes is, he's a fantastic player. He doesn't offend people. Like, I don't know.
I know.
I'm not a hater.
I would have liked to see him play in real man's football like 10, 15 years ago and see how this Chiefs team would have, whatever. Yeah, let's leave it at that for next week.
Okay.
When you're in New Orleans. You take... And what are you dressing like down there? The weather's been off and on and weird, man.
The snow's gone, and it's mid to low to mid 20s. So I'm pretty excited. I'm bringing my Speedo.
Short guy. There you go.
Hey, so I'll tell you the story. This is good. So we're in LA for Super Bowl during COVID, or like the year after. So we've traveled down, but we all got a test. So I get there, and the next day I test positive for COVID. So I'm literally covering Super Bowl for a week from my hotel room, and we're down, we're right on the water, literally on the water. So one day, all of our crew, Kara Waglin, James Duthie, everybody is poolside, and some guy goes into the hot tub completely naked. And all of our guys jumped out of the pool as fast as they could. And I was just watching it from the balcony of my hotel. So I'm expecting another warm weather, but I'll keep the Speedo on. I'm not going to, offend anybody.
It's funny. My 11-year-old daughter's listening to this conversation, and she just said, Taylor Swift's team is winning the Super Bowl, Dad. You can't argue about it. So
my 12-year-old daughter is the same. Like you are not getting any support out of her shank. I'm telling you.
I know.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Kate, next week from your balcony watching weird things in pools. Let's do it, Farhan.
No car shot, no rain. Thanks, guys. See you, DA.
See ya.
From TSN, Farhan Lalji. And that is now sponsored, by the way. I forgot to do this at the beginning. starting here in February. Time to get financially fit with Farhan. Fit with Farhan? That could be the thing. Cooperators can build a plan that works for you. Cooperators investing in your future together. Thanks to the Cooperators for hopping on the all-new Sportscage. Break time. We'll come back with some senior hockey chat. And then don't forget, back half of this hour, we're replaying Henry Burris. It's the Sportscage streaming live from the Brandt Centre at sportscage.com.
Since 1949, Nelson Homes has been providing you one-stop shopping for ready-to-move homes, panelized packages, and on-site builds. Nelson Homes' team of authorized dealers all over Saskatchewan would be happy to help you turn your dream home into a reality. In the Fort Capella area, call Calvin at 99 Builders or call 1-800-661-6534 for more information. Nelson Homes, trusted quality and service since 1949.
Dad, I've got a problem.
Let me guess. The solution's in my wallet?
Very funny, Dad. We need better internet.
Look, son, when I was younger...
When you were younger, the dinosaurs still roamed the earth. Can we get wireless internet, or is that too hip for you?
I'll have you know, Junior, that I've already been to Glassers TV, your SaskTel authorized dealer. Wireless internet is on the way.
You might be more hip than I thought, Dad.
Contact Glassers TV, your SaskTel authorized dealer in Moosomin today.
You say...
Move!
And your cows say... You tell them...
Your water is right over there.
And they say... You can't convince a cow to move to the water, so move the water to the cows with the Keln Solar Livestock Watering System. With the Keln Solar Livestock Watering System, you can put your pump pretty much anywhere without the cost of hooking up to the grid. Learn more about the Keln Solar Livestock Watering System at kelnsolar.com. Keln Solar, we move water.
It's farewell to 2024 and hello to massive savings at Southie Mainline. Get up to $25,000 off remaining 2024 inventory. That's huge. Save up to $19,000 on 2024 heavy duties. That's gigantic. Plus, we have the 2024 Jeep Compass starting at $34,945. Southie Mainline is a small town feel with bigger than city discounts where customers show up and leave feeling like family. Find you your perfect vehicle at the best price in Saskatchewan. Southie Mainline, just 30 minutes from Regina. It's worth the drive every time, guaranteed.
Get your equipment out of the rain and snow and under the roof of a new storage building from Olympic Buildings. Have a warm, dry place to work and keep everything out of the cold. Olympic Buildings. Buildings to meet your budget. Visit olympic-buildings.ca.
Time now for the Saskatchewan Senior Hockey Report on the all-new Sportscage. Brought to you by Future Ford in Melville. New units arriving daily and premium used vehicles to fit any budget. The future is Future Ford. FutureFord.ca and CoolBet.co. Embrace the unexpected at CoolBet.co. Free to play casino games, sports odds, and more.
All right. Senior hockey report. Where's my notes here? Okay. Kenora. Always got a special place in my heart. The Kenora Cobras are in Carnduff tonight. It is Provincial C Game 1. That's a big one. Travel safe, everyone. I don't know if the snow is hitting the Carnduff area. 8 p.m. tonight, Game 1. Curious how that goes out after, especially being in Kenora. Everyone talking about it. You know, what do you think? What does Carnduff have? I'm like, I'm not the insider. I'm just that Josh Millar's the guy you want to talk to. But that's a big senior game tonight. Also, Wilkie tomorrow in Senior C Provincials. It starts. Wilkie is in Outlook, and Hudson Bay is at Foam Lake. Foam Lake, one of the top teams in the province. Nautica Hockey League tonight. Cornac, Rollo, 8 p.m. Avonlea, Radville, Mossbank, Assiniboia, Yellowgrass at La Flèche. Other games this week. Rocanville hosting Langenberg, 8 p.m. tonight. Travel safe. Rocanville 3 points up there. Balcarres is in Balgony at 8:15 in the QVHL. Kenniston is hosting Lorburn in Game 1 of playoffs Friday night. That's tonight in the Sask Valley. Ituna, shout out Ituna Avalanche, Q Park Canucks. They go at it 8 p.m. in the Ituna facility, whatever the new rink is called there. It is unbelievable, though. That's the Prairie Men's League first place battle right there. Week top 10, Monday nooner this week. You can go back and listen to it. There was a new number one team Just teased it. No, people should go and listen to it. But the new number one team in the province, and it comes from the Big Six Hockey League. So yeah, there's your senior hockey report for this week. The Monday Nooner boys couldn't join me. It is for Future Ford in Melville, Saskatchewan. The future is Future Ford and Cool Bet as well. The Cool Bet doesn't have their senior hockey lines up right now. I was just checking it out. Any update on weather? Anybody? Headset guys? We haven't been out. We're looking through
still snowing.
It's craptacular.
It is still snowing, yes. We let Braxton go, so who's going to know?
Yeah, Braxton Whitehead was our weather guy. Weather on the ones with Braxton Whitehead. So travel safe. Senior hockey, junior hockey, kids hockey, whatever you're going to tonight. We're going to play Henry Burris again. Coming up momentarily. Great interview.
Great. Just a character that we're missing in the CFL, I think. Like just that glowing, not afraid to say like no cliche guy. Like he's an entertainer.
You because one thing you talked to him about that is like it was kind of like the time of like exciting quarterbacks in the CFL.
All games were 51-50 in overtime. Like it was
take the over.
Yeah, it was you'd put that up against any era. I think you go against the Dunnigan, Damon Allen, Dieter Brock,
sure.
like that was high flying Austin. And then you got to go to this era. Like I think
Dickinson, right? And then like I forgot about Casey Printers.
I know.
And he was like a backup. Kind of. But the first time you saw him come into a game, though, like how big he was and how fast he was and everything, it was like, yeah, that guy's good.
Right. And then you have Ricky Ray, Jason Moss. Like, yeah,
both of those guys in Edmonton.
I know, on one team. Again, and
interchangeable.
And Jason Moss is a bit of a character. Like it was entertaining, and it seemed like every game you kind of had this battle. And finally, we got Kerry Joseph to get us over the hump. You had, and then went right to Darian, who had another character who was just, the league was so competitive.
Doubles will be with us on Monday. So yeah, Pats Rebels tonight, 7 p.m. under the orange top here. Lots of hockey in the area. And we're gonna bless you with Henry Burris to take you home. It's a great interview. Thanks to Brent from Events Edge Entertainment as well. Curtis, you got something to say in closing? You're wearing a Pats jersey.
Yeah, no, it's my joke. We're the Patsies. Look at us. Come on, guys. That's all I
Did you work
wanted
on
to
that
say.
all day?
Pretty much.
That is, that is why you tune into this program. People out there for that, right? That's the humor you can't get anywhere else. Good job, DA. Again, buddy.
Thank you, Barnes. Thanks for
Mosh, thanks so much for the setup here at the Brandt Centre. C's, thanks so much for everything back there. That is the week. Hopefully, we're all back Monday, and we get to do it again. Henry Burris interview, amazing interview coming up.
CoolBet has all the hot games. For all the free-to-play casino games, head to coolbet.co. They've got sports odds, including Saskatchewan senior hockey, plus all the sports odds you can think of. From the ice to the field to the court, CoolBet has you covered. All at your fingertips. No risk, just thrill. So why wait? Get in the game and embrace the unexpected at coolbet.co.
You know something? It's like selling a six-pack with only 5 beers in it. Wood Country Woody here, reminding you that unlike some other places, Wood Country Garage Packages contains everything you need, right from the start, including appearance-grade lumber, all your nails and screws, and walk-in doors with cladded jambs. Building a garage? It's one and done with Wood Country.
Your home is your castle.
In McLean, Estevan, and Tisdale. Shop online. wood-country.com.
At the cabin or on the farm, Access Rural Internet gives you speed and service you can rely on. Right now, get Access Rural Internet for as low as $69.95 a month for 24 months, including free service calls by our local techs, a free Wi-Fi router, and a strong, reliable signal matched by our strong, reliable customer service. Great service is never far away with Access Rural Internet. Visit myaccess.ca to book your free site survey.
At Capital GMC, we're turning up the heat with a special purchase of over 70 GM certified pre-owned 2020